about it.
It's trying. It's trying.
We believe it can fly.
Oh my
We believe
gosh.
it can touch the sky.
It's
Think
like,
about it
what,
every
you
now
want me
and
to
then.
show the actual live stream? Excuse me? That's weird. Oh, hold on. It's probably live and I'm on the wrong page.
Oh no. Let's look here. Oh yeah.
I'm a
Yep,
pro,
I see.
bro. Nope. It's showing my other thingy. Okay.
Oh yeah, it says welcome. The stream is starting. That's what it says.
Mine says live stream begins.
Oh yeah, I hear us.
Oh, we're there
I hear us.
finally?
Uh-huh.
Oh
The
my
stream's
gosh,
here,
that
and I
took.
hear us.
I've never had it take that long to start before. Yowza. Welcome, chat. I'm Diaberia Breezy with me. And last week's podcast was so good, we decided to do another one.
Yes,
I,
super exciting.
I got some good feedback. People were like, you guys are really good together. Like a really good
Oh,
discussion. Yo, G1. G1 was one of those people who really liked it.
oh, that's nice of him. He's a great guy. I
And
like him.
then Condor was like, I never thought this collaboration would happen. And it's like, why not? Maybe it's because I do more gaming and you do more homesteading?
I don't know. I don't know.
The best collaborations happen naturally. So, all right. Well, chat. Breezy and I did a lot of talking off camera last week, and we started just getting to know each other. And we're like, what if we started talking about Christianity and our experiences with God, and just because we were talking about life, and we were like, why don't we do a stream where we talk about seeing God in our lives and how it transforms us, how it gives us the strength to keep going on. And like, yeah, we talked about a lot of stuff last week. So,
We did.
um, you want to start by giving us a background? Like, what's your background as a Christian? And
Well, should I tell you like the story of how I came to know Jesus? I don't know if you
yes,
mind
do
the
it.
Jesus
It's
story.
perfect.
Okay, so I think I was about 6 or 7, and I always saw things that were like green and big and mean and scary. And I was laying in bed one night, you know, and these green, really scary monsters were coming down my hallway, and every time they would pass over the threshold into my room, they'd disappear, and I was really scared. And then I felt like I just needed to pray and ask Jesus to save me and be there for me. And when I did, they disappeared, and I slept like a baby, and I never saw another thing since. But anyway, there you
What
go.
were they?
I have no idea. I just remember being really afraid, and I remember them being green and a little translucent. And I don't know. I suppose now we say we see things, and people are like, they have pills for that. But for me, it was, I don't know. I guess that runs in my family too, that kind of stuff. And so,
You guys see green
but
things?
no, after Jesus came into my life and saved me, I've never seen another one. Probably my imagination as a kid, just being scared. But yeah, that was my come to Jesus thing. So
G1, sorry to leave early, but I'm not religious and get really uncomfortable talking about this since my family do, and I'm the black sheep of your fam when it comes to this. Sorry to hear that, dude. You're always welcome to listen, though.
Have a wonderful evening, though.
Yeah. Glad. I hope your stream went really well. Um, I was raised Catholic, and so it was always part of my life, but we weren't like uh super devout. I mean, like, I don't know. Once I got confirmed, my mom didn't require us to go to church. You know how it is when you're young and you get freedom? You're like, freedom! And you go do what you want.
That's right.
And I went to church off and on throughout my life. Like, I think, man, when I got my first boyfriend, it was a late bloomer. It was like, I was like 21. And at the same time, my brother invited me to go to his church that a coworker invited him to, and he had this amazing priest. And I went there a couple times, and we always went to breakfast afterwards, which was a highlight. And I loved it. I loved the priest. And so I kept going, and I went there for like a year and a half. Couldn't wait. Loved Mass. And then he went to Rome, and I moved up north for ultrasound. So
Oh,
that
wow.
was the end of that. So then I found a really good church, years later when I went to Wisconsin for my first ultrasound job, and then I left there. So that was short lived.
Right on.
And then I just really struggled to get back to find, a faith community that worked for me. And then I learned that my old priest, who I absolutely loved, was at my current church.
What?
Yeah, I used
Wow.
to. It's funny. I didn't go to mass, but I went on retreat every year up near Lansing because that priest had gotten me and many other people to start going many years before at the old parish, and so the priest up there told me where it was, and I was like, I'm 20 minutes from there.
Aw, that's
So
wonderful.
I started going off and on, but not as often as I should have. And then COVID happened, and I started to get really scared
Mm.
towards the end of the lockdowns. I started seeing our society change into something that I didn't want to be a part of. I value my freedom. And I know what happens to Catholics when you have an oppressive regime take over. And it's like, that's my worst nightmare in America. And
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to live in a country and never have access to the Eucharist again. Like, I know I don't go to church and I've taken it for granted, but so I started turning to the church. I've always turned to the church, though, whenever there was something tragic happening in my life, and started watching a lot of Catholic content on YouTube. And man, it just like really like flamed the fire that I had like a little spark in my heart, and it just fanned it like crazy. And I went through,
Yay.
yeah, I went through a lot of stuff. There was some darkness I was dealing with, and I felt like there was a fight for me. And it's so weird if you're not Christian, chat, and you haven't experienced this, but man, it's crazy. But finally, it took me about 8 months, because it was like September that boom, this happened. And then like the week before Easter, I finally went to confession so I could return to mass, because we do that as Catholics. We go to confession. You're not supposed to miss your Sunday mass. And I've been to church every Sunday since, except for like 2 when I was sick. And
Oh, wow.
and I really wanted to be there. I hated it. I'm like, I really want to be there. I
Aw.
love my church. But
Aw.
the thing is, though, during the lockdowns, my priest had gone to Lansing, so he's now,
Oh. No.
I think he's going to be bishop someday. But we got another priest who is just insanely on fire with the Holy Spirit. This man is
Aw.
crazy amazing.
That's great.
Yeah, he's
That's
been
great.
helping me grow. That's for sure. And that our church is huge.
Aw.
It's so nice being in a Catholic church that's actually alive, because a lot
Yeah.
of them are just kind of like sleepy, and
That's been my experience.
it's
Yeah,
tough,
for
man.
sure.
It's really tough.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
yeah, so I've been back in full force, and I lost all of my fear when I came back. I have no anxiety except for this week. This week was trying.
Oh, yeah.
But man, things came together really fast yesterday. It's been an amazing journey, and I feel like I'm finally headed to a place where I can actually start benefiting others instead of just trying to survive. So that's my story. Hello, Spars.
Yay.
Welcome.
That's great. I grew up in a Baptist church, and we did lots of, because my dad, he was I don't know how you say, where he went through the school and was ordained, and everything, and he did worship pastoring, and so we lived in the Oregon, Washington area.
Oh,
That's where I
wow.
grew up for a little bit of my life, and then he got a job out west, and so southwest, and so we ended up moving on down here, into the desert, but that job ended up falling through at some point, and so we just kind of moved from church to church to church, Dad would do the worship pastoring, and so I grew up in that, you know, getting up on stage and singing with my dad, and you know, doing the worship nights, practice, and all that kind of good jazz. And so I did a lot of that. And then we moved out from the city into the country, and when I was about 10 or so, and there's some churches out here, but there's a lot of small town politics in churches out here, and it made it difficult to follow God. We have a really interesting job, and there was a pastor in one of the churches that we mainly grew up in. He was super supportive of us and what we were doing, and I played drums in the band while he was our pastor, and my dad, he always has to come along because he gets excited about all that.
You play everything, don't you?
I'm a drummer at heart, but I play the piano and guitar.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. Is
so
that
yeah,
why you play so many instruments?
Probably. I don't know. I like to write music, so I was a drummer and I wanted to write music, but it's difficult to write music on a drum, is what I decided. And so I had to start learning some other instruments, and that's what kind of brought me out to learn more. But yeah, he ended up having to not be pastor anymore because he got a sickness, and then after that it just kind of went downhill. So,
As far as the volume is the same as it always is. Can you turn the stream up at all? Or I wonder if your master volume got turned down on Windows somehow, assuming you're on Windows. Passes note to is not to interrupt stream. Is it me or are you two a bit quiet? 100% volume, Yuz and Pine Tree at the lowest using Rumble volume. Interesting. Yeah, my output is the same as it always is. So I'm curious. Let me mute my stream here. Yeah, my output is the same as it always is. So I'm curious. Let me mute my stream here. Huh. Is it good?
Here, I'll listen to it real quick.
Huh.
Oh, I have it muted. I was like,
I could turn it up more. Is that fine? Do I need to talk more?
I don't know. Let's see here.
Can you hear it?
I can hear it. I don't know if it's loud or soft or not, though, but it is. I can hear it.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, it might not be as loud as some other folks can get it or something. I know we're not.
You're kind of soft, though. Let me.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe
Maybe
keep talking.
Oh, this is a
kinda
test to see.
soft, though.
Oh my goodness, we did so many sound checks growing up. Now I'm going down memory lane.
Keep
And
talking.
Dad'd be like, all right, test, talk, and then you'd have to come up with something to say. So, so you do the typical testing, mic check, 1, 2, 3, check, check, check. Oh man, I can't tell you how many times I've said that. And my dad would be like, keep going, so he can keep adjusting with them.
You know what's odd? I think the volume is kind of weird on the video, but I don't know why. Because you're loud to me, and they're getting desktop volume, which I have turned up. I turned her up more, chat, so let me know.
Now you can hear me.
I can hear you more. Mwahaha.
Oh yeah, he said same as before. Well,
Weird.
it must be Rumble. It must be or something going up in the waves. Oh yeah, he said coming back down. Well,
Weird.
it must be Rumble. You know.
I think I'm a little louder
Like
than
the
you
feed
are,
or
which is
something.
weird. Okay, I have you turned up all the way now. So
Whoa! Watch out.
we'll do what we can do. All right.
Yeah. Watch out.
They can hear us though, so that's the good
that's
part.
good. As long as we're legible.
All right. So the devil
And then
doesn't want them to
audio
hear us. Same as before, but I can change my volumes around. Got you. So your dad traveled as a pastor? Like what?
Well, no, we just went from church to church, whatever church needed a worship pastor, and my dad would do that.
So like he'd
And
have an assignment for a while and then
yeah, he would go, and then eventually it'd be too far away. Like there's one that was a little bit too far away, and I know as far as a thin that it's reading and not listening. So I added I added in an audio way, I think, to the end of that sentence, because you're right about that. You're right about that. But anyway, but yeah, we just kind of wherever there was a need, that's where we went. So we went through a few of them, and sometimes usually like we'd start going to a church, and then we just couldn't help ourselves because our dad, especially because he'd get excited about the band going, and then be like, "Oh my gosh, you play!" And then when you have talents like that in a church, it's like, "Oh, cool, we can put you here." That's usually how it went.
Interesting. Okay. My dad worked for GM.
Nice.
There was no traveling except to work, and he sometimes outran the cops to the parking lot.
Well, it sounds like the cops liked him, so if we're learn anything from last time,
They were probably very frustrated because they wanted to ticket him. Now he drives really slowly on purpose because he's a stubborn old man.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Wow. And if you have any other comments or anything you want to talk about, let me know because I have no plans here.
Yeah, right on. Let's see. Yeah, my dad, he ended up, he did a lot of work. His last job, I think, he was working with the military. He did all kinds of stuff. He dorked sales for a little while, and then he's a very very out there guy. He likes to talk and be in front of people.
What did he do
And
with the military?
Okay, when a person's going to get out of the military, they go through a class that kind of gets them back into into the mode of civilian life, especially if they've never worked. So he'll run them through getting their resume going and mock interviews, just kind of.
That's what I used to do.
Getting them into assimilation. Ah, that's awesome.
I actually did it for the government, though. I was a government employee.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I helped veterans who had barriers to employment, and those who are getting out are considered to have barriers to employment. But some of them are pretty well set up. Yo, Zen, welcome. How are you today? So yeah, I did that for like 6 years for the state.
Right on. That's awesome. Oh, we did. Dad worked as a contractor, so he didn't work. He wasn't a part of the military. They just kind of hire folks to do that. So.
But your dad did a lot. That's cool.
Oh my, yeah, he did all kinds of stuff. And then we worked. Oh man, we always did fun entertainment stuff with Dad. We worked. There's a old ghost town that's near us, very famous one, and we were comedy gunfighters for a summer. Him and I. He carried the show, and then I starred in it, and we'd shoot. They'd be real guns, but they'd have the blanks in them, so you'd shoot them away from one another. And it was a 3-act show, and I was the idiot. Really fun role to play. If you didn't know, those are the best because you can't lose, But well, I mean, I died at the end of every single. It'd be a 3-act show at the end of every.
You were really good at death scenes.
Yeah. Oh man, one time I go up into a balcony and then I pretend to shoot my foot off or my toe off, and then I would die at the end of it. Got shot. And
man, those toes.
And there was a little kid up who was in the audience one time, and I come down for the second act, and he's bawling his eyeballs out, and his mom's like, "Oh, he thought you died," and I was like, "Oh no, I'm okay, I'm good." We had to stop the show to reassure him. It was like, oh man.
Okay,
but, yeah,
that's very sweet. Kids are cute.
They are.
Kids
really
are very
adorable.
cute.
Yeah.
So you're younger than I am, so you have a better memory.
Maybe.
Can you
That's
think
debatable.
of like your first God moment where you were like, "Oh, that wasn't me. Like, what is going on here?"
I honestly I don't have that great of a memory, so it's it's more recently than ever. But we had my dad. He got stage 4 cancer, and we knew something was wrong with Dad. He got pneumonia. He wasn't able to get better, and we all knew something big was coming. And Mom felt like it was cancer, but she didn't. You don't want to think that before you know for sure. We went down to the clinic, and the nurse practitioner lady had called us in And that's never a good sign when the doctor's like, hey, so these tests we're looking at, we need you to come in. And so I was like, Mom and Dad were just going to go, but I was like, no, 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 I got to go. I'm going to go with you guys. And while we were there, the nurse practitioner lady, she's like, I can't verify this, but it looks like cancer to me. And she's like, this is some areas, I don't know, I can't say, but I definitely I would rush you to the hospital. I can get that going for you. And so we were getting ready to go from the clinic, and it was a rainy day, which is really unusual for the desert. But there was this hummingbird that came up to the big windows, looked at us, and zoomed off. And it's just something that really strikes you, something you never forget. We were getting into the car, and I was pretty upset. I was in charge of calling everybody to let them know kind of what might be going on, just close family. And those aren't really easy calls to make. And we didn't know how bad it was at the time. But as we were coming out and I was kind of trying to gather myself to make these phone calls, I just felt like God told me that he's got Dad. I got him, is what I felt like I heard from God. And I don't know, it gave me the strength that I needed to get those calls through with, and that whole situation was really crazy, but God was so close. I've never, I don't think we ever experienced God fully until we go through situations like that. Like, I don't think we understand how close God can be until we really, really, really need him. And at the time, we do YouTube, so we got a lot of folks. We put out a little thing to say, Dad, I don't know if we said quite what was going on, but just like Dad was sick, and if you could give prayers or something like that. I'm not sure what we said. But you could feel like prayer wrapping you up like a blanket. And through that whole situation, God just had some incredible stuff. We really had to step out in faith. We ended up, Dad didn't want to go the chemo route. But it took like, I don't know, I think Dad was in the hospital like 3 or 4 days because he also had the pneumonia to worry about too. And so it's by some miracle he got out. But all the way through, God kept the motif of the hummingbird all the way through Dad's trip to the hospital and beyond. He used it as for one of it was like poking and prodding, how they were pulling blood out of Dad and everything. It was constantly, in those places you really need an advocate in there. So thank goodness it was pre-COVID, just before COVID. So Mom was able to be in there with him every step of the way, and I'm so glad. And then on the day that he wanted to come out, they were ready to put chemo down him. And by some miracle, God sent us a little angel card. They're like, all right, the last doctor to sign off, and it was just several doctors. He's like, here, take my card and call me if it gets worse tomorrow, and we'll let you out. And the little card had Angel on it, call Angel. And we were like, there's our get out card, our set free card. And anyway, we ended up treating Dad with an alternative treatment. And he was cancer free in 2 months. But I don't think any of us are the same from that. I've had health scares, and we've had other health scares that have happened
without chemo.
Without chemo.
Without chemo. Yeah. Truly a miracle cure.
Yeah, really, really crazy. Chlorine dioxide, if you're familiar. And anyway, very crazy. But like I said, I know what we're talking about is God here. But we would not have done that without God. God lined that up. He had that treatment for us before Dad was even diagnosed as that's what he had. And my goodness, I feel like I got really close with God there, and I continue to get closer with God, especially as we go through. I don't think anyone has had a breezy last few years. It's been I feel like everyone's been going through stuff.
Look, life is always full of hardship. It is what it is. I don't care whether you have lockdowns or not, or what country you're in.
Yeah, that's true.
Spars says agrees. While God is with us the entire time, it's when things break down, we give it all to our Father. When the full blanket wraps us in healing. Again, cheers for cancer free. Yeah, I hate to say it, and I've been really mindful of this because life has been really good for me lately.
Good.
Really good. For all the complaining I do. But I realize that when things are going really well and I start to get into that mode, I kind of forget to take prayer time. And that it always turns out bad. But I know one of the things I love about Mass is I'll go up to communion and I'll come back and, you kneel afterwards. And I like to just close my eyes and I think this year more than any other year, I learned what it meant to give it to God. And some of the prayers that I've had, it's amazing how, like, a lot of people think you have to be really verbose with your prayers. Nah. Like, you can have all this stuff going on in your head and be feeling all these things. And I guess it's a good thing I suck at expressing my feelings, because, like, I'll just have a moment. Like, I know one time, I hate it. I was crying so much in church last year. If you want to see me cry, chat, church. I don't cry very easily outside of there, but, like, the God moments. But I just found myself saying one day, like, I finally I just, like, blubbered, and I'm like, I'm weak. I need you. I need help. I'm so weak. And then with the things that, so what, a lot of you don't know this because you didn't know me last November, but the day after election day, I had a heart palpitation that scared the ever living crap out of me. And I don't know if I think allergies are bad. My voice has been terrible these last couple weeks, but
You sound fine.
I was watching, the internet on my TV, which I don't normally watch my TV, but I got up, went to the kitchen, and started making some food. Like, I just pulled stuff out of the fridge, and all of a sudden my heart just started pumping so hard. Like, I felt like it was going to fly out of my chest. I'm not even exaggerating. It was so hard and so fast. And with healthcare background, I, assess a lot. And the second I started getting lightheaded, I was like, holy crap, you need to sit down. This is dangerous. The minute you get lightheadedness with that, it could be the end. And so I got over to the couch, I sat down, and I just started taking slow, deep breaths. And it slowed down a little bit, but it was still really significant. So I grabbed my keys, I grabbed my phone. Chat, don't hate me. My mom complains about how independent I am, but I got in my car and started to drive, and I got to the light right here, and I was trying to call my brother because I was going to go to his place and have him drive me to the VA hospital, which is like 40 minutes away. And I realized I didn't have my power cord for my phone, and I needed it. So I turned around, went back to my apartment, and as I'm walking into the main entry, the heart got under control. And I was like, well, I guess I'm not going to the hospital because, like, they can't do anything for a heart palpitation if it's not happening. They can't diagnose it. So I came back in and sat down and just, I prayed. And I drank salt water. Because I've been keto for a long time, just not as low carb as I am now. And I'm on a steady supply of electrolytes. And they're gone. I don't have heart palpitations anymore. But I remember going through that, and I stood up and I'm trying to figure out what to do and why the hell am I going through this? And I have this picture of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. Let me grab this because a lot of people don't know what this picture is. My dad's mother, my grandma, we'll call her Grandma Bear because that's what the last name means, is Bear, bought a bunch of these for everybody. So my aunts and uncles all had these pictures for decades, and Mom gave me hers finally, but it was all like faded and tan from like cigarette smoke, and you know how it is. And this is my favorite picture of Jesus. I've always looked at this, and my brother got this for me for Christmas last year. So
how special.
I never looked him in the eye. Like, I don't know what it, like, I can't, I with pictures even, I have a hard time looking people in the eye. And that moment I looked him straight in the eye and I was like, please just help me. I need your help. I'm so scared. And and I knew in that moment, because I'm weird like this, but I knew obviously that when I felt like my life could be at the end, God was the one that I turned to for help. It's crazy. So that's what my winter was the one time I don't have a paper towel here.
Oh, how special. How special.
Oh my gosh. So the whole winter, I kept having like mini palpitations here and there. I had to quit alcohol. I didn't drink any alcohol for months.
Mm.
because it was after the Crowder election stream, and I enjoyed like a bottle of wine, and it was low carb, and
Yeah.
I just prayed every day, prayed for healing, and
Oh.
I couldn't go to my parents for Christmas because they had a big ice storm
Ooh.
leading up to Christmas Eve, and I'm stubborn. I'm Polish. Come on, Polish and Irish. I drove 20 minutes to my church and went to midnight mass. I was like, I mean, I don't mind spending Christmas alone because when I first lived alone 20 years ago in Wisconsin, I celebrated Advent. I was like, I'm going to take my faith and just completely celebrate the seasons, and it made Christmas magical. And that's when I put up my tree on Christmas Eve because I wanted to make Christmas Eve alone special. And now I put up my tree on Christmas Eve, which is part of the reason why I don't go to Mom and Dad's until Christmas Eve. But I put on It's a Wonderful Life because that came on. So every year I've watched that while putting up my tree. So being alone for Christmas wasn't too big of a deal. But I drove to church in the dark. And I get in there and I started having a little mini palpitation. Like just a mini one, but it's like, come on,
so
heart,
scary.
stop doing this. All right? Just stop doing this.
Yeah.
And I think it happened again no, actually after New Year. I was afraid to drink on New Year's, but I did because I do this giant New Year's stream every year. And it's just a big party. A bunch of people file into my Discord and we toast. And we had a great time this last year. But I was fine the next day, and I just drank lots of salt water. Lots of salt water. I did not want that happening again. And together with like praying for my heart to just stop being stupid, and I was also praying that God would let me get off of Zyrtec and Flonase. Like my allergies in the wintertime, like January is when it gets really bad, and
Interesting.
I'll have terrible, I think it's from melting snow, like mold or something, whatever it is. A lot of people here have bad winter allergies.
Huh.
And I couldn't function. Like my head would be in so much pain. I wouldn't be able to talk because my voice would be just awful allergies. And I had to be on Zyrtec every day.
Oh god.
Every day. And Flonase in the wintertime. And so then I had heard about this before, but I told you last week about the YouTube experiences, and chat hasn't heard this yet, but Michaela Peterson, one of her lion diet videos came up, and I was like, you know what, I already know the healing power of keto. I'm going to check out this video. And I watched it. I never wanted to do the lion diet. I love beef, chat. I eat it all the time. Like, that is one of the primary things I eat, and I buy from a local farmer. But, like, to have it be the only thing you eat, nah. I want my dairy. Like, please. And I like bratwurst, too. I have bratwurst in the fridge right now. But I watched, like, 3 of her videos, and the third one had Dr. Ken Berry, who is really well known. He's a Tennessee doctor. He's very well known for the carnivore diet. And I've been binge watching his stuff ever since. But 2 weeks into January, I was like, you know what? Screw it. You're already keto. Give up the vegetables. Go even cleaner than you already are. And by February, I was off the Zyrtec. I was off the Flonase. I stopped having heart palpitations because Dr. Berry introduced me to Element Powder, which is what I use. This is going to be Bass Ackwards, chat, because Discord flips the camera, but Element, and they come in different flavors. And so this is what I drink all the time. And so I'm getting potassium. I've always been on magnesium for sleep because keto, I'm not tired. But man, like, God works through other people, and people could be like, well, that's just a coincidence. It could be, but we have more stories we can share about how things will just get thrown right into your face after you've prayed for it. And the fact that I just decided to go on this diet and it completely healed me. On top of that, my body's working right. I was actually able to have 2 hamburgers last weekend with bread. With bread. Yeah. And I was perfectly normal. And then on Monday, I just got right back on my diet. Yeah. So that's why I was fasting on Friday, because it's like we're detoxing. And now I'm fasting today because I had comfort pizza yesterday.
Hey, the ability to do that is just awesome.
I could not control my appetite. If you knew what I was going through last year, because I was praying for that too. Like, God, please help me get my appetite under control. I'm in my 40s, chat, and like a lot of women in their 40s start to really struggle. Like, I wasn't certain weeks out of the month, hunger wasn't going away. I had like 2 or 3 instances last year where I bought a large pizza, ate the whole thing, and felt hungry. Like,
Ooh, gosh.
something is wrong there.
Yeah.
And on carnivore diet, I started running into the problem of not eating enough food because I get full. So now just kind of play around with spacing my food, and um it's just nuts, but it works for me. Am I going to be carnivore forever? I do want to bring tomatoes and avocado back into my life because I love them, and yes, I eat cheese and dairy, but I'm starting to cheat a little bit more now. Like Memorial Day weekend, I'm gonna have some chips or something. Like I can't not have potato products. I am Irish. Come on.
Yeah.
But like, to pray that fervently and suddenly have everything healed a few weeks later.
Incredible.
It is incredible. Yo,
Oh,
Condor. What's done is done, and you already know if it was really smart or not to drive in the moment and done some. Yeah, and you know what, Spars? I know I'm gonna just do my own thing. I joke around about being an old lady. Like I joke around about being an old lady now, but like when I'm 80, I'm gonna be a handful. I know this. Welcome back, Zin. I wasn't going to bring up the pizza. I outed myself. I prefer a variety of food except for foods with lots of breads and noodles. Yeah, I mean, I used to do a pretty diverse diet, but I think something got broken in me, and it started snowballing after I went on an antibiotic back in 2009. And so I also have a huge reflux issue and carbs. I can eat acidic foods. Like, I don't make enough stomach acid. And in the presence of, like, wheat, it's terrible. But moderation, like, I could have an occasional hamburger. We're in a really good place right now. So,
Yay.
and that's, face it, people don't go on the carnivore diet just because they're like, oh, it's a good diet for weight loss. No, people go on the carnivore diet because their body isn't working right and they
That's
need to
right.
fix it.
That's
So,
right.
I never would have considered the carnivore diet, but it just happened. It's about finding your own balance of food. Some me just don't quite find the balance. It's tough. And you got to be open-minded, but it helps to know. It helps to know what's actually wrong if you're trying to fix something. When
Yeah,
it comes to just
that
weight loss, honestly, the only thing that causes fasting is how I lose weight. Like my body will stay where it is right now. It loves this weight. I am overweight and it needs to come off. The only way I've been able to really lose weight is through intermittent fasting. I'm fine with this, but I had to pray because I had no self-control, and now it's just like I know exactly what to do, and I get back on it no problem.
That's awesome.
The
God
habitual
helps.
sins
Okay.
ended with New Year's. It's crazy how that worked. Yeah. So now we're working on some deeper things.
God's always peeling it back. He's like, all right, you're good. Let's
I-
make it better.
It's when God starts going that deep, it can hurt a little bit. So
I
you
hear
start discovering things that you didn't realize about yourself, and it's like, man,
Yeah.
I really do need to grow. But
that. Oh, we're done. I got really super sick. I started having really interesting nerve things happen, and I thought they were panic attacks. I'm not a particularly nervy person. I have a lot of energy, but I've always been a very solid individual. Or people lean on me. I'm strong
same.
in that way. And
I look strong.
and like, yeah, don't we always look strong? But
I even have people
but
in the Rumble
anyway,
community coming to me now, like, Di,
yeah.
I gotta tell you, okay, fine.
Oh, yeah, we're strong. We can take it. Hopefully. Oh gosh, God's careful. But anyway, anyway, I started to get really like my nerves started really feeling frazzled and just in constant movement, and I was having a hard time walking around at some point. Like I was real jolty, and it was difficult for me to move. And at the time, we're always doing our show, so we're continuing to do it. And at the time, I was doing the music and the sound for it, picking out the songs. And I had gone downstairs to our studio space where our computers were set up, and I started. I just kind of curled up into a ball, and I couldn't uncurl, and my bones, just everything seized up. All my muscles did, and so my mom and brother picked me up and just pretty much carried me up the stairs, and I just kind of sat there in a ball on the couch, and we weren't really sure what to do. So mom got me into a car. We had learned about, of course, at that time we had learned about chlorine dioxide this a couple of years ago.
So was this before the cancer that this happened?
This was after.
Oh,
after.
okay.
I think it's like 3 or 4 for my dad. Everything's 2 years ago.
I'm gonna have to look this stuff up.
It's too much. but I think it was a couple of years now for me. Now mine. At the time, the first round of COVID vaccines were going, and they were having a lot of issues with Bell's palsy. And my face was really numb. Everything was numb, but my face especially was super numb. And so they're like, oh, you just have Bell's palsy. I told them I hadn't taken any vaccine or anything, but they're like, that's what it is. And then they sent me home with a $4,000 bill. They didn't do anything. But anyway. But I kept having the problem. I kept being unable to function. I would curl up again into a ball, and I just couldn't unfurl. And it's really scary when you're not able to move. And so I'm sure there was panicky stuff happening as well, but my body really was struggling. And I couldn't walk. I had to just sit, and I was just unbelievably tired. And we went and we got like a scan on my brain to make sure it wasn't MS, because I'm in the perfect age for MS. And nope, brain looked fine. They did a scan of my some other thing that it could have been. It was perfect. And they even took me I did a physical therapy session, and the lady thought, she was like, oh, it's so strange. Like when they would have me close my eyes and do some sort of an activity, and I could do it really well. But then when I opened my eyes, I had a really hard time functioning. And so anyway, we'd been dealing with this. And at the time, I had just met my husband, Jared. And we had been like online dating, we met online. And he was going to meet for the first time. He was going to fly down here and meet me. And I didn't know what I hadn't really told him. I told him a little bit, like I was having trouble moving and stuff. And so we went all I wanted to do was, when I saw him, I just didn't want to jump. but we picked him up from the airport, and we drove home. It was really fun. And the next day I just felt really sick. Like, oh man, he thinks I'm this healthy person. He's seen the videos at that point, and I'm not. I'm not. And I took him aside, and I was like, oh, Jared, I just have a really hard time moving. We don't know what it is. And he just wrapped me up in a big hug, and he's like, oh, it's okay, we'll figure it out, or whatever. I don't even know what he said, but he just wrapped me up in a big hug. And he's just been my rock through all of it, Jared. And
so sweet.
I don't know how long we did it after that, but then we decided to get married, and all I wanted was I wanted to walk down the aisle. I was still dealing with the stuff, but I wanted to walk down the aisle, and I did not want to have the shakes. I didn't want to walk down jolty. I wanted to just walk down right. And God did that for me. He did that for me. I was able to walk there and back with no problems. In fact, the whole day, I think I was pretty good. And that's pretty good, because I would, anytime that I would get ordinarily nervous, it would just show up physically for me. And, but nope, all the way through. And, anyway, we looked around everywhere. Nobody could help us. Everybody told me I was healthy. I had a neurologist tell me that I had mental problems and send me home. And I'm not, I obviously do not have no such thing. He just didn't know what to do, and I guess that was his go-to. And anyway, that was a whole thing. But then anyway, we tried like red light, we tried chlorine dioxide, which would work for my dad. We tried I think we did blue light too, but that's more for fungus treatments. But I was gonna try
whatever right, if you're trying to fix something.
I still have episodes, that would come up, and my sister had gone through her own health thing, and so we were trying to find. Mom's constantly looking for solutions, and we normally look outside of the box, but this time we really had to look outside the box. Nobody had solutions for us, and so anyway, she bumped into this guy that did lots of juicing for metal detoxes. And he has like a special, like, few ingredients that he puts into it. They're really good for the brain and for the for the organs and all kinds of good stuff. And so Mom started reading that, and it was to fix another problem. But she was like, "Oh my goodness, this is brie. This is brie. These are things that brie has." And it was associated with heavy metal poisoning, really. And so she's like, "Oh, Brie, we got to get you on this." So it's been a couple of weeks now, and I got my energy back. I've been healing slowly. I've been better than way back then. I still have them, but they're farther apart, or I might go a couple months not having it, and then a few weeks where I have it a lot. So it's like, it'd been just kind of off and on. And oh boy, have I been feeling super good on this stuff. I normally have a lot of energy, and I hadn't had that since I was like in my late teens.
So
I'm
you have like a heavy
so
metal poisoning.
Yeah, and believe it or not, I had a lot of work done on my teeth when I was young. I had like the okay, in Finding Nemo where they have the big round thing around your head, around that gal's head, she taps on the glass.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I had the updated version of that in my mouth, and so it pulled my jaw forward because I had an underbite, and we had gone to a dentist, and he was like, "Oh, it's throwing your back off," and he was showing, so we're like, "Okay, yeah, let's get that fixed." Anyway, and they installed it when all was said and done, a metal bracket behind my like a permanent retainer, and it's all metal. And I think that might have been, I think that's been slowly releasing, and of course your brain kind of picks up all that stuff. And so we kind of think that's where the heavy metal poisoning came from. It's still in there, so I'm just doing my best to stay on my detox and kind of keep up with it. Is kind of what I think we're doing, and I'm so far so good. Sometimes some days it wins, but most days it doesn't nowadays. But I like, it's really funky. I have, like, in the morning, I have a lemon juice. My Jared, he does it with me. He's awesome. I do like a lemon water, and then a water with lemon, and then we juice, if you can believe it. We juice, what do we juice? Celery? Celery sticks in the morning, in this little juicer, drinking celery juice.
Juice is
and then
so
we
good.
have,
oh my gosh.
and then spirulina. It's dulse, wild blueberries. We make like a smoothie, and it's got a bunch of 5 ingredients the guy really likes. And man, oh my goodness, has this been incredible for me. And I can't wait to get that bar removed and be completely healthy here. I think I will. But God, seems like when God helps you out with one problem, like lots of other problems get fixed. Like for you go in for one problem and you come away not having to take your stuff anymore for your allergies.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Everybody benefits, but
I am so relieved to not be on allergy medication because I thought I was stuck with it for the rest of my life, and it's so expensive. But I don't like being on pills, and the only reason, like, if you put me on an antibiotic, I'm going to skip several doses because I just don't take pills every day. I hate it. But the allergies were so bad I couldn't breathe if I missed a dose. So, you should look into I know Dr. Berry talks about the heavy metal detox. Okay. And he recommends Lugol's iodine drops.
For in the water now. Is that what you do?
I'll put one. You can take 1 or 2 drops. But I take 1 or 2 a day depending on how I feel. Actually, I had really cold fingers. And then when I went on they're not cold anymore. But the iodine clears the metal out.
Okay, I'm gonna look into that too.
I'll send you a link. Right.
I'll do anything because I'm trying to keep up with what's going on.
I would love to hear your experience with it. And it like, some people will have some side effects a little bit if they have like a lot of poisoning. But like for me, I don't think I drink distilled water, so I wasn't like getting it from tap water or anything. I don't think I had any kind of significant toxicity in my blood, but like I definitely had an iodine deficiency. And it's nice having warm fingers. Oh my god.
Mine are cold right now. You're saying warm fingers. I'm like, mine are freezing.
But yeah, I really want to hear about your experience if you try the iodine drops. You're gonna see changes almost right away.
Right on. That's great. Well, up until I got sick, I knew I had a problem because I had extremely heavy fatigue. My limbs were very, very heavy. My phone was heavy. Things that should not be heavy were heavy, and I knew it. But we'd get blood tests done or whatever, and it would always come back perfect. and or just a little bit under. There's no
Same.
way it can cause it. And so it's like everything that they're looking for, I don't have a problem with. And so I think that was just, we think now, there was a neurologist too that thought it might have been hearing. She heard what I had, and she thought it might have been Guillain-Barré, which is what I ended up getting,
That's scary.
which is a far better one to get than MS because you recover, but still not a good one. And they do stick around if you can't nip everything, and there's no solutions that they have for nipping everything. So I do think it was the heavy metal in my blood that caused a lot of those problems. So,
I think there's a
yeah.
lot of that in our country, and people don't realize it, especially if you're eating a
They
lot
don't
of
know to look
processed
for it.
stuff. Plastics are a
Yeah.
huge one too. And I
Mhm.
guess with plastic, you just need to sweat it out. Like saunas are great.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
Zen says I'd have to put myself through what some people consider inhumane workouts to lose weight on top of eating once a day. Miserable experience. Won't recommend it. Yeah, I can't lose weight on a regular diet. I can't. Keto gets me to where I can actually control my appetite and it heals my body so I can actually process food and not be malnourished. Uh, for me, and I'm willing to bet, Zen, that you're a man and you will not ever deal with what I'm dealing with right now at my age. But like for me, I had to go the fasting route to lose weight. Now I do not taking calories. Like I try to eat a lot of calories on the days that I eat, but dude, because I've been there. I stalled when I wasn't getting enough, but um, I guess it's pretty common in women as we lose our appetites, which is funny because we spend our whole lives like trying not to eat so we don't get fat. And it's like, oh, if you just eat beef, butter, bacon, and eggs, you won't be hungry. Oh, opposite problem. I'm glad Brie has a good brain. Same. Brie is amazing. I'm sure many have said, and could be the food itself and the time when you eat. Drinking a little water in the morning and working out, right, helped. Yeah, you just got to trial and error it, and you got to give it time because, like for me, I didn't start losing weight until I persisted for a while. Like my body had to decide, okay, fine, I'll do it. Now I look good in my jeans again, and I'm really happy.
Yay!
That
That's a
was
good
driven by
feeling.
the circumstances of my life. Outside of health at that time, I biked 2 hours to work, pushed difficult to work with shopping carts for 8 hours, then biked back home. Dude, I plan on getting back into biking now that I'm moving where I'm moving. Lost 80 pounds in 3 months doing that. Doctor said that was a dangerous amount of weight to. Whatever. If you feel healthy, screw the doctor. A lot of doctors don't know jack about nutrition. They don't learn that in med school. They don't.
No. They
The,
learn what medications to give you. That's what
yeah,
they learn
it's
in med
terrible.
school.
I know when I was pre-med, they were like, so you should really take a nutrition course because, they don't teach you nutrition in med school. But the
Oh
nutrition
gosh.
they teach you is the stuff the government pushes, and it's making most of us sick.
Yeah. I
Oh,
feel
hey,
the same
eat
way.
carbs, but don't get diabetes. Okay, thanks. Bree, I'm very happy you found your husband. Those Minecraft Legends live streams, something just stirred in me that it's like the Holy Spirit consecrates all around him. And
Hmm.
keep up the deek. Maybe someday I'll find a man who can.
You will.
It would be
You will.
awesome. I don't know. We'll see
You
what
will.
God has in store for me. I was watching my little homestead make prickly pear jelly on the 24-hour channel.
Oh, right on.
We were
I'm so
talking
excited
about
about
that
that.
before the stream. It's so cool. I just put a drop of nascent iodine under my tongue. Condor, how long have you been doing that? And did you notice, like, what kind of changes did you notice when you started taking it? Because the recommended daily allowance for iodine, I guess, is not enough for most of us by any measure.
Isn't that the way it goes?
Yeah. You know what's funny?
Niacin's the same
Like,
way.
back in, like, 2000, I did ultrasound from 2004 to 2009. And of course, I scanned myself. I was always like, "Oh, can I see this? Oh, that's a weird thing around my aorta." But I checked my thyroid. I had thyroid nodules. 30%
Oh.
of women have thyroid nodules. I didn't get it recorded. I didn't want it on my record. But like, they're called adenomas, and they come and go. Like, you get like this smooth little mass, and then it starts breaking down into a cyst, and it goes away. But come to find out, those happen when you have a deficiency. But because they recommend a low amount of iodine, we test normal. So, yeah, man, going on the iodine, life changing. Um, I've heard that working amazingly well. Yeah, a lot of people have good responses to iodine. I don't think I deserve it since I gained it back in muscle mass and some fat, but thanks anyways. Not in a diminishing the situation way. Well, it is heavy metal toxin. It's heavy metal, I'll see myself out. Ha! Ha!
Oh, yeah. You're right. Yeah.
Break out the
You're
mantras.
right.
My grandma used to pump. Hello, Nighttide. My grandma used to pump all us kids with vitamins daily. It was the go-to remedy and worked wonders. Dude, I honestly believe in the healing power of food. God gave us everything that we needed, and we keep turning to synthetic means that just make us sicker. My mom is losing weight by eating more, and it's all garden, farm, fresh food, no grocery store, and she's doing better. Yup. Yeah, I that's why I hate these people who are like, well, it's really calories in, calories out. And it's like, nah, it's not, dude. It was for me when I was in my 20s. In my 30s, it started changing. And now that I'm in my 40s, it's like, whatever. Now in my 40s, it's like just trying to figure out how to make things work. And come to find out, it's healing the body so it can do its job. Yo, Black Box. Hello. What did I come into? Normally when someone says it in my stream, we're talking about naughty stuff. I'm not going to lie. There's some kind of innuendo with weird conversation that just kind of accidentally happens. We're like, what the heck did I just come into? Okay. I have a story. I used to work for a McDonald's. That was my first job.
Nice.
And I would drive south to get home, and there's this S-curve coming out of town that, I had like the warning sign to slow down to 35, but I'd hit it at 50, 55, 60. I had a car that cornered well, and it was my dad's car. I drove that thing into the ground, and I think I burned the engine out, but I wanted to be a race car driver. What can I say? But anyway, on the second part of the S, there's a T intersection. So like it's curving to the left, and then the T intersection's on the right. And I was coming hot around that corner, and there's oncoming traffic, and me and this other guy get to the T intersection, and this guy at the intersection pulls out in front of us. And like I should have died. I was going 60. I should have hit the guy. My car did exactly what you're taught not to do. Instead of going to the right, which I couldn't because the guy was there, I went across the oncoming traffic lane, and my car did this. It threaded the needle. Like, I avoided the guy pulling out in front of me. The oncoming guy somehow avoided him as well. And I think I came back behind the oncoming car and got right back on my lane. And I was like, what the hell just happened? I knew that was not me. I was like, I 100% believe in guardian angels. that was, I'm a good driver and I've avoided some crazy stuff, but that was just that was way too tight for me to avoid, especially as a 17-year-old driver. Going way too fast, which I still do to this day.
Right on.
Do you have like a weird like miracle moment like that?
I don't know, none that come to mind, but I have them, and I'll think of it afterwards. But
when it comes to losing weight, there are a lot of factors that play into it. Won't advocate cookie cutter solutions because of the fact, but if it works, it works. Yeah. Had my wifey pick up the not processed version of Heinz 57. I do have some organic Heinz, and she was like, it tastes the same. I was like, yes, no more corn syrup. Guardian angel working over. Let me tell you something, AJ. My guardian angel. I kind of owe my angel. I've done some crazy stuff in my life. I know, right? That corn syrup just shakes my head. Not needed. Why would you go through the extra steps of processing food if there wasn't some, I can't help but think there's malice there. It's so much easier just to get like the basic ingredients, throw them in and do the thing. But let's go through these hyper chemical processes and then add this stuff back into our food. It takes energy to do that. It doesn't make sense. But
nope. No.
I was watching, so before I returned to Mass, one of the things that got me to go back, so I watched this priest. His name is Father Chris Alar. He's actually originally from Michigan. He used to be in automotive. He was an engineer and an MBA, and he was considering proposing to his girlfriend. And then started struggling, like, do I become a priest or do I get married? And he ended up
Oh
finally
man.
becoming a priest, thank God. Because that man has changed lives. But he does these Saturday talks about like tradition, and some are about dogma, and it's just a lot of fun, like Catholic history. And um one of the shows was about angels, and he was talking about the guardian angel, and he says your guardian
Oh.
angel is with you all the time. And so when you go to mass, your guardian angel gets to be in the true presence of Christ with you. And it just hit me, and I'm like, I've been keeping my angel away from God for I need to get back into church. And it was just one of those little things that it actually clicked. Like, okay, my angel knows what it's like to be in the presence of God, and here I am just like not going to church. Okay, good stuff, Die Bear. I've got some guardian angel stories for another time. We'll have to get you in to talk about that. Angels and demons are real. Guardian angels are real, and it's a small part of God protecting us. Dude, it takes a family. God has given you a family, and it's amazing. And you talked about feeling the warmth and being wrapped, like, in His love. Like, I know, I love that moment after receiving communion. When I just, I start with like the prayer vomit, like, yeah, here you go, God, here's everything. And then it's like, I love the peace that comes after that. And I will just close my eyes and just relax. And I feel it. Or anytime that I've been in a situation where I felt like some kind of darkness or some kind of temptation that I needed help with, and I would pray. And I would suddenly just feel like complete relaxation. I would feel like this. I kind of feel like a baby in my mother's womb when I'm at church, having that moment right after receiving the Eucharist, because it's like I am just there, and I'm safe, and nothing in this world makes me feel safe like that. And we all know women like to feel safe. It's all we ever want in
We
our
do.
relationships is to be safe. I want to
We
know
want to be
that,
safe.
yeah, I want to be
Mm-hmm.
safe. I know I can trust you, and it's like God is the one who gives that to me all the time.
Oh, how special.
Yeah,
That's special. Mm-hmm.
it's awesome.
And then like when we have such big problems, I feel like, I mean, I've had problems growing up. Life goes forward, and you're like, oh, I don't have money for this, or I need a job, or we have like, to me, compared to the stuff that I feel like we've been facing, or like my family face health wise and all kinds of stuff, where like it's a matter of life and death, or a huge drop in the quality of life, and so many things. Um, I forgot where I was going with that. Anyway, but I'm not. There's so much worry that you can have over those. They're problems that feel like you can't tackle them. Like you with your heart. Like, how do you fix that? Like, there's a lot of things you can go in and fix. We fix things out around here. We build stuff. We fix things. But when it comes to your health, it's not something you can grab physically and tighten down or fix a leak. It's something that you almost, especially like for you, where you can't find solutions, or us, we can't find solutions. God fixes that, or He lets you know that He's going to, and there's just this feeling like I wouldn't want to have to face those things without Him. I just wouldn't want to. I feel so at peace inside knowing that those problems are going to have a solution at some point. I don't have fear that that's going to happen. That the blanket comes over you, and you're just like, I know God's going to take care of it. And yeah, anyway, that tightness with God, and having, I feel like over these last few years, I have such a bigger relationship with God than I have ever had. Like, I went through a period of time where I didn't, I was like, I didn't understand God. I couldn't feel God. I couldn't. I struggled with that, with just accepting God. I mean, I accepted Him at a very young age, and I feel like I was saved at that point. But I I I didn't really have that relationship like I know I can have. And over these last few years, I feel like I just have constant dialogue with God. It's just constant. And I feel like I'm constantly asking questions. I'm a question asker, and I feel like God's right there a lot of times with a lot of the answers that I needed, or they're just vague enough that you can chew on them. You know, I don't know. Whatever they are, it's this constant. It's this. There was a book that my mom read, and I love the one line that she shared with me. It's this moment by moment with God, and I feel like I've gone from, yeah, I have a relationship with God, with like, I don't know what I would do without God. I don't know. You just had to have him through these period of times. I do not know what I would do, and he's just amazing. It's just incredible. Difficult to explain when you haven't gone through. Maybe you have, and I know you have, but yeah, it's hard to explain it to somebody else. But it's this so tight with God, amazing feeling, amazing.
I was reading a book one time where the writer was talking about this insatiable hunger that people have. Why are we always keeping ourselves busy? Why are we always chasing all these things to just fill our time? And he was talking about that emptiness never being filled because it's a God-shaped hole in your heart. But he was explaining, like, that's one of the reasons why so many people chase sex, promiscuity. They think that it's weird because it's so shallow what people are doing these days, but like at the same time it's like they're chasing some kind of closeness and they don't realize what it is they're chasing. And I'm at a point in my life now where it's like anytime I feel some kind of like crazy hunger for something, not just something sexual, chat. I mean, that was just the example, but like anytime I start getting restless or like, you know how you get like, we call it boredom, but like you don't know what to do with yourself, or like you just start feeling lost, or the good times when everything's going great but like something's missing. That's, I've learned to bring it back, like, yo, put on a video on YouTube. Sorry chat, but like the Catholic stuff isn't on Rumble yet. Okay, give me a break. You know, go watch Father Mike Schmitz, go watch Chris Ayler, go watch, I don't know, one of your favorite apologists, like talking with, you know, one of the Protestant apologists and having a great discussion there. Like, just bring God into your life. And that's the stuff I'm hungering for. Like, I just want to keep learning more. What I love about all these different discussions that I watch is that they cause me to think, because I live in my mind. And
of course, me too.
I'm very one of those people. And it just, these discussions spark something to help me go a little bit deeper. And then that gets me to wonder. And then I'm like, God, what does this mean? Or, you know, maybe this is something that I need to work on. God, can you help me with this? It was interesting. Something I told you this last week. I started pondering the idea, like, how do you love people you hate? How do you pray for people who you think honestly don't care about you and who are destroying your life? And like the Joe Biden, the Nancy Pelosi, yes, I have to bring politics into it, chat, because this matters with the story. But like, I asked that question: how do I pray for these people? How do I pray for people who hurt others? And why? I just don't understand it. You can understand something intellectually, like, hey, these are the rules and why you should do it. But how do you understand it with your heart? And the next day, I come home from church, I pull open YouTube, and something totally unrelated to what the algorithm would normally give me is this Hispanic dude from LA who's giving a talk about demons and his experience with like exorcisms, working with the LA cops and the things that they've seen. And the very first thing he talks about in his talk is why you need to pray for people in positions of power. Because if you're a demon, who are you going after? You're going after politicians. You're going after clergy. You're going after anyone who has any kind of power over anyone else. And the higher you are in that power structure, the more they're going to come after you. And it's like that's why we need to pray for those people, even if we don't, if this isn't really quite there for them. And it really put things in perspective for me, but it created that understanding. There was a connection here. Because I don't think you can really truly understand something unless that connection is made between your head and your heart.
Yeah, you can pray all day long, but if your heart's not into it, that's
yeah. And then like this like in January, February, I was like, okay, we're asked to love people, love your neighbor, but like, what does it actually mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because most people think, oh, it's romantic love or love of a parent for a child. But what does it really mean to love? Like, what is God calling us to do? Because it's very easy to love your spouse, your boyfriend, your kid. These are natural things that you're inclined to do. But how do you love your neighbor? And I was like, what even does that mean? Because I can't love somebody in that sense if I don't know what it means. And the next week, I pulled up a Father Mike Schmitz homily, and I told you, God uses YouTube on me.
He knows that's where you go to look for answers.
He defines what love is. Yeah, right away. It's wanting the best for people. And I was like, well, dang, I understand that.
Oh, that's great.
But, that's a challenge, and I think that's something that God's been calling me to work on for all of this year, because it's already May, and it's something I'm still struggling with. And I feel like there's been some improvement because I've been very conscious about it. But, like,
Yeah.
wanting the best for others in spite of what you desire, especially when we're in a competitive environment like streaming, like, how do you... There's only by the grace of God can you want the best for the other people who are in your environment when you're trying to be the best at the same time. And it's really a struggle, and trying to honestly have the humility that I should is a struggle. So this is this year's lesson. This is what I'm working on. And it's hard. It's hard, but when God starts burrowing deeper into your heart, these are the things that start to surface. And my priest said it very well. He was like, because I told him about it. He's like, yeah, God is shining light on the dark areas in your heart, and you need to just accept that. And he brought up a word I didn't bring up. I brought up control. Because someone asked me one time, they're like, Di, why do you like mountain biking on these crazy trails where you can really get hurt, but you don't like amusement rides? And I'm like, because I'm in control on the mountain bike. And I told my priest that, and he's like, well, this brings up trust. You need to learn how to trust God. I actually cried over this a couple times these last couple months, because I was like, okay, well, I obviously don't trust people either. And that's a problem with relationships. Like, not like dating, because I'm not dating right now, chat, but like friendships, accepting people into my life. And I gatekeep my heart with my friends. And there are people who I click with pretty fast, and others who I'm kind of afraid of because of these flags that they throw out there. And it's, I keep the people who I allowed to be near me. There is something that I identify in them that is safe. Going back to the safe word again, I have to be safe.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want to close myself off to people who I could help, because I do have gifts, and I do believe God wants me to use those gifts. Mm-hmm. But I'm not here for the people who are strong and they've got it all right. I mean, sure, they're in my life for a reason. But maybe these people are there to give me the strength to help out the people who I would normally close out. I don't know. This is me being freaking intellectual.
Well, that's what this conversation
being
is about,
an INTJ, that's what I do, chat. I'm an INTJ. We're crazy. We are totally in our headspace.
I have a question for you, because this has been something that I've been trying to decipher for myself. We get this idea that you go with your gut. You hear this all the time. Oh, go with your gut. What's your gut tell you? What you got? Gut. And so, growing up, I've always been trying to figure out what the heck that means, because all these people that I learn about that are super successful are like, oh yeah, I just go with my gut. and I'm a very literal person. Like, I mean, not
Same.
very, but like I take things pretty literally. And so I'm like, what does that mean? So I'm like trying to pay attention to my gut, what my gut's telling me. Well, I have, and I found this because it's been really raw because of my illness. My nerves, I feel with my nerves really intensely. And I find that like right here in my chest, I feel things. I feel good about something, or I feel bad about something. And
Same.
through this last few years, okay, through these last few years, I have come to feel like that is God. God is making, letting you know what is something a yes or something a no, or what feels good. And for me, it's not my gut. It's not in my gut, but it's in my heart. And like when I'm praying, trying to pay attention to where my heart is feeling about how I'm praying, and or a decision that I'm going to make. Is that like for you? Now you said same. Is that kind of what you have experienced as well, or how do you, when you make decisions, and because we want God to be a part of these decisions we make, we know they're going to be better. How do you decipher that for yourself? What is that? Because I feel like it's a little bit personal.
That's an interesting question, because I've always denied my intuition, which is strange. I don't know. For those, I did a lot of different personality tests when I was working for the government, and I found I don't like the official Myers-Briggs test, but there's another test that does the same typing. It's called the Young Typology Indicator Test, and I've taken it a bazillion times, and I've done years of research and exploration, and I'm an INTJ, and one of the gifts that we have with that personality type is we tend to be quite perceptive in that we have really good intuition. And yeah, I've always denied my intuition. I never trusted my gut.
Yeah. I've learned to trust it.
Well, you did it at a much earlier age than I did, because I didn't start. It was my last boyfriend, and we broke up in 2016. It was about the time that I got my MBA. I really started looking back on my life and my relationships and just everything, because the intuition thing kept coming up in the self-exploration, and I realized I always had those feelings. Like I knew
Yeah.
when he was just keeping me around because I was a convenience. I knew that I wasn't loved. I knew that I wasn't going to go anywhere. And I had to learn how to identify it. And unfortunately, I think it's a life experience thing, really, to really learn what your intuition is and to learn how to trust it. But like, I'm not a serial dater. I've had 3 boyfriends my entire life. I've been, again, my mother is so mad at me for being fiercely independent, but I chased life. I went and did things.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah. Well, you got married though, so that's good. At least you fought it in your 20s.
Eventually, I was like, "Hey, I am ready now," but I wasn't ready up until recently.
But
I wanted to work. I like to work.
God gives us exactly what we need to get through life. Like we each have our roles, and I've actually been pondering this lately. So I think it's funny you bring it up, because the heart thing. Like, why do you feel it all right here?
Yeah.
And like a lot of the people I watch, they've been talking about this lately, like with the whole trans thing. You can't separate your body from your soul. The fact is, you're made up of both of them. And when we all come back, we will be their body and soul. Our bodies will be resurrected in their fullest glory. And it's yes, you have the physical part, but I think God made us in a way. There's a reason why everything centers around the heart, and we always talk about the heart, and why, we have the sacred heart of Jesus. Like there's something with the heart. It's more than just something a muscle that pumps blood. And if you look at it, it is like the heart is what pushes life out into the rest of your body. It does. You have oxygenated blood, but it's the heart that pushes it out so everything can stay alive. There's so many different levels to this, and it's when you talk about Eucharistic miracles. So the Catholics believe that the Eucharist is the real presence of Christ, his body and his blood. That's what we've been called to do. It's in the Old Testament, and we've been celebrating that ever since. And there was they took a piece of the Eucharist to a lab, and they had a scientist examine it, and it was showing up as heart muscle cells.
Wow.
Not just heart muscle cells, but they found it to be from the left ventricle of the heart, which is the ventricle where the oxygenated blood comes out into the rest of the body.
Interesting. The breath of life, huh? Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, Christ is life, right?
Yeah,
and
for sure.
So you can take all of this information, and it all just comes back to the heart. Like, I think there's more to it than just like, that's probably why you're feeling things there too. this is your core. It really is your core. And I think this is where things come together. Maybe this is where the deal is sealed.
Yeah, and another thing is too is like God wouldn't leave you without communicating. He's a great communicator.
God never leaves you.
He's a great communicator, and God has given
even
us
with me
liners. Yeah, he knows you. It's this personal relationship. He knows exactly how you
this one
communicate.
is a tough nut to crack. That's what God says with me. Can I look at chat real fast before we move forward?
Oh, yeah, go
write
ahead.
down what you were gonna say so you don't lose
No.
it. But okay, these guys are having fun.
Okay.
The yoke of life, the difference with Holy Trinity or without. There is no real peace without God. 100% AJ. Oh my gosh. When I would not pay attention to my religion or engage, that's when my life just started falling. It's like entropy, spiritual entropy. Things just fall apart, and you need God to bring it back together again. Outside looking in, can't quite understand it all. Inside looking out, hard to explain it all. Human logic versus God's never-changing foundation. Dr. Taylor Marshall, that's a fascinating dude. Pints with Aquinas for Catholicism and Apologia Studios for some Calvinist goodness. Dude, I love Matt Fradd with Pints with Aquinas, and I love how he has on people who aren't always Catholic. And I love the conversion stories that his guests have told. There is so much great stuff on Matt's channel. Guys, years of great interviews. You just go down the rabbit hole. I've heard some amazing things that have affected me and how I see things, and it's helped me so much. Because I always wonder, like, especially, like, he's interviewed people who are former atheists, a former Buddhist, lots of former Protestants, because I always wonder, like, why did you become Catholic? Like, what is it about us that made you want to, especially when a lot of you are taught, like, all these things that we do that we don't really do, but, like, why did you finally become Catholic? I want to understand this, and Matt's show does that. It's so beautiful. And Matt is just a real dude, too. He's like me, has a problem with swearing, and he's been trying to stop. But Matt also recently became American, so yay!
Oh, yay! Congratulations. That's awesome.
I know, right? Even most denominations aren't on Rumble yet. Just please, some church, please, some Sunday services or so. Yes. And I brought it up with Catholic Answers. They're one of the 4 companies who I support with a monthly donation. And yes, I consider what I give to Rumble a donation. I mean, whatever. I don't get ads. That's pretty much it. Here's my $10. Have fun. But yeah, I'm trying to get the ones that I watch to be on Rumble. And Matt's putting more stuff on Rumble, but it's not always there. Like, I have to watch a lot of the live streams on YouTube, and it's like, please just Rumble it. Best advice I've heard, get a Bible and read it with a thesaurus next to you. Read it slowly. Before opening the Bible, if you're going to do the Bible thing without any kind of, like, Bible study help, just say, Holy Spirit, come into my heart and pray with me. God, help me to hear what you want me to hear. That's Lectio Divina. That's how you read the Bible prayerfully. And read a small passage slowly. Go back and ponder the part that sticks out to you. Ask God what it means. Ask him what he wants you to know. Because when you look at the tradition and the history behind the Bible, and it's been so crazily studied, and there's a lot of history you should know. It'll really broaden your horizons with what you're reading. The fact is, you're still going to have the individual experience with those passages as well. You can understand the meaning behind it, but sometimes God is just going to tell you something that has nothing to do with the tradition. It has nothing to do with the history. It has nothing to do with the ritualistic meaning of it. It's just God is giving you something, and you need to just accept it. Frank Pavone and RSBN. Man, Frank Pavone, I don't know. I know a little bit because I looked into him. I find it very sad what happened. He was defrocked. Very anti-abortion priest. And a lot of people are angry because he was defrocked for, I don't know, something stupid in comparison with, like, the German bishop and the German priests who are almost, like, basically in schism with the Catholic Church right now because they're pushing LGBTQ stuff. So Frank was a huge issue last year for a lot of people. My mom loves him. I pray for people that God is able to grant them peace and grow closer to him for the glory of God. 100%. Oh my gosh, AJ, I'd love to live in a society that understood. You know, I got to tell you guys, I was praying last winter and like over Christmas. I was like, God, please help me find a streaming community that knows and loves you and that will accept me as a Christian. Like, another thing that just boom happened. Rumble.
God is amazing.
And now it's so funny because I'm, like I said at the beginning of the show, like I typically don't feel anxiety anymore. I'm fine. I really am just fine. And yesterday, Chad, I got a phone call from my leasing office telling me that, oh, hey, you know, your move out date was yesterday, but we didn't get your keys. We just wanted to see if everything was okay. And I was like, I called them back. I'm like, I called you guys a couple weeks ago and told you that since there was a 60-day notice period, I wanted to stay until June. And you said, okay. And they're like, well, we don't have a record of that. And so I had to send a request by email to let me stay till June, but they already had someone lined up to lease my place on the 20th of this month.
Oh, no.
Well, when I tried arranging everything, I tried to get my new apartment for the first week of June because I don't want to pay for half a month of rent in an expensive place. They were like, well, we're sorry, but in order for us to hold the apartment for you, you have to take it on the 12th. And so, you know, I was going to have like 2 weeks to move, I thought. And I thought there was no way, since they had someone moving in on the 20th, that I was going to be able to stay here that long. And I didn't have the money. I was waiting till the end of the month because I needed another paycheck and I needed the Rumble money to move. And, well, it's not the end of the month. And I felt helpless. And if you want to see me lose it, that's the one feeling. Helpless. I had no idea where I was going to get $1,000 for moving because I need all the money that I have now and the money that I'm getting on Friday for 2 months rent, my deposit and my rent. And that's when I posted up on Twitter. I was feeling incredibly stressed out and I was freaking out, and I had people DMing me, like so many people from the Rumble community. I love you guys.
We love you.
I'm a little bit of a basket case this week because of all of that, but man, it really meant a lot that everybody reached out to me. Like, everyone cared enough to... Everybody. So...
I feel so blessed to have met you. You were awesome. I don't have a lot of friends. I have friends, friends but I don't have a lot of female friends. Not that I'm complaining,
Same.
but I don't have a lot of them. And when
out with the guys my whole life.
I've always been that way, and I'm not complaining. But when I met you, and then really we did that stream last week, I was like, wow, I told Jared, I was just so excited. I was like, I made a friend today, Jared. I made a friend today. And he was like, oh, baby, I'm so happy for you.
She's a girl.
Like, oh. Yeah, she's a girl. Not this. But they're just conversations you can't have with your guy friends. It's just not. No offense, but we don't want to make everybody feel awkward.
Yeah, hitting the big point on how society wants for love equal only romance. And it's sad, Spars. Like, people don't know. The fact that so many people in our society think that to be close to someone means you have to be sexually involved. That's so disordered. True love is a deep desire for the best for others, regardless of how you feel about them otherwise. It's hard at times for family. It's super struggle for those who I don't like. Yes. Love your neighbor is about learning to be a part of your local community in a similar fashion to how you love your family. Yes. It's tough, dude. You guys are super chatting. I'm not down here. A willingness. No, I'm sorry. Rumble ranting. Stop with the super chats. A willingness to help each other grow and improve, as well as to protect each other in times of strife. I may be wrong, Zin, but that's only part of it. I believe it includes everyone. Reconciliation is the part I struggle with. I don't know how to love those who've wronged. I end up praying for. That's tough, and that's something we can talk about a little bit because that's a good one. I find that it's been such a relief to be around like-minded people and feeling a part of more of a community that is necessary. And I think healthy as long as we don't isolate ourselves. Yeah, dude, AJ, every time I meet another Catholic, because I have a role in the Timcast server too. I'm like a community coordinator there. And there was this, we were talking about dating several months ago. And I ended up blocking this woman because I was like, yeah, I like to find a guy who has my values. And it's hard as a Catholic woman, especially one who's returned to the church and is living my faith fully. That is not accepted in our culture today. And this woman just like pounced on me about how she doesn't agree with the Catholic faith and we're all going to hell. And I was like, what is wrong with you? This isn't about whose religion is right. I have values and I want to find someone to date who shares a...
That's right.
Hello? Like...
Yeah, absolutely. Same with me. I wanted to find a Christian guy that was more in line with what I believe.
Yeah, who would treat you with dignity and respect. And that's what it is, too. To live, to have a Christian marriage is a beautiful thing. Where am I? And yeah, AJ is Catholic. So it was like, oh, I'm meeting so many Catholics now on this platform. And it's nice because I'm not like the outcast. I'm not the outcast in a Christian circle. And I'm not the outcast in a secular circle. We have everybody here. And none of us are unique in that we're like the lone wolf. We're all just this. I love this community. I do.
Me too.
For the best of them, that God's will be done for months at a time, hopefully forever and ever. 100% night tide, having a strong foundation so that we can go into the unknown. Fear not. Yeah. Just that foundation is God. You build everything on him and Christ and you accept his peace. The rest is easy. I wish I had did this years ago. Like, oh, hey, God, yeah, please, just help me. I suck at this. And when I started doing that, that's when I started changing. And I would say having discipline in your life is the most freeing thing ever. Night, that last part is a big struggle for me. Back to the trust issue, like they're saying. I assume trust is hard. It goes to show how hard it is to be Christ-like. Imagine how he felt looking at all the sin around him all the time. I do actually wonder about that. And then I think, wow, Christ is just, he loves us so much that he allows us to do the stupid. And he'll be there to pick us up when we ask for help. And that's the key. And you got to ask.
And make whatever the mistake is into a benefit somehow. I don't know.
That's called the Old Testament. That's what
God he just brings it back around. Like
that is all the Old Testament. When people are like, "What does it mean?" Well, people mess up, and Father Mike Schmitz said this too. The Bible isn't the story of us running from God; it's the story of God chasing us.
Oh, that's really special. I love that.
Yes. Study Bibles are great and go into it with an open heart. Man, I have had some wild insights lately. Dude, when I have a study Bible and I used it to read the first 5 books, the Pentateuch, and it really changed how I view the Old Testament. But those first 5 books are amazing. And I had no idea how to approach them at the beginning. And now the more I read, the more of other people's writings that I read, the more the Old Testament is still developing for me in a way that just is really... I don't know. I'm finally at a loss for words. AJ, thank you for your suggestions. I didn't see them until Diver said about Aquinas. My apologies. Oh, yeah. Matt Fratt all the way. He's amazing. Also, if anyone's suffering porn addiction, that is Matt's primary ministry. He has another channel on YouTube about that. But he struggled with that. And he goes out. He does a ministry for that. And it's awesome because... we are inundated with porn in our culture. There we go. Rumble.com/Pints with Aquinas. Let's go. Yo, Glitchy Poo. Hugs. I hate physical touch, but take my hug, you lovely bitch. I love you too, Glitch. Spars with a $5 Rumble rep, not because you love us, but because I forgot to do this a long time ago. Aw. Thank you, Spars. I really appreciate it. And yeah, let me tell you, I love that you're here a lot. That means a lot to me. And thank you for becoming a monthly supporter. I love you guys. This is amazing. It would appear Rumble censored my last comment. Oh well, people who read Paul's writings in the Bible will know. And the Bible is a story of God hurting cats.
I was trying not to laugh at that because you were going through something more serious, but I saw that. I was I like that when I laugh.
Let me change my earbuds really fast, and then we'll we're caught up. That hurting cats part is so true. All right, we're good. We're good. Okay. Do you remember what you were gonna say?
I don't, but I'm curious now. Another thing that I feel like I have been learning is, well, it started off with a documentary. Well, I don't even know how it started. It's kind of interesting. And I think that you would find this very interesting, Dad Bear. You might have seen this documentary, but it talks about sound and how sound affects, namely water and things that contain water. And the one clip of it that goes around everywhere is he's a scientist in I think Japan, and he did this study where he took 3 bowls of rice, all the same rice, and to one bowl of rice he just screamed at it hateful words, things that just put it in the fridge. To one bowl of rice, he just spoke lovingly to, oh, you're doing great, you look fantastic, all these wonderful things to it, put it in the fridge. And then he did nothing with the 3rd bowl of rice. And he did this every day for a course of a period of time. I think actually the course of a month. And then he pulled out all 3 of these bowls of rice. To a bowl of rice that he did nothing to, there was the typical thing that you would see after a month of cooked rice. It looked a little moldy, the typical stuff. To the one that he spoke hateful words to, it was really moldy. It was disgusting. And then to the one he spoke lovingly to, it was almost good enough to eat. It was really good. And it was such a fascinating study that he did. It was part of a bigger documentary.
That's so weird.
And yeah, they went and they went to, I believe you're going to know more about this than I am, but there's holy water that they do once a year. At the Catholic there I think it's in Italy, big thing, and everybody goes and they get their holy water for the year, and they'll go pick it up, and the big, I don't know, some bash that goes on there. I'm not familiar, but they decided to do some study on the water because they've been finding that water has memory, and that they can freeze water. They can play certain frequencies to water, and it will freeze into different shapes. In fact, there's a lady who always is filming. She goes down and she films DC, really popular lady. And she was finding that the snowflakes were really interesting shapes around a particular fountain. And it was they attributed that to a sound that was played there. But anyway, back to the water. They went and they studied it, and it was so full of life. It was so full of these images and of these things. They could not believe it. In fact, they were talking about stories of like people in shipwrecks where they're in salty water, they shipwreck, and then they pray for water, and around them it becomes normal fresh water to drink. And how the things that we pray for and the sound that and the frequencies that come off of that and that are really affect our bodies, they affect our food, and they affect everything around us. When we pray over our food, which is a tradition that Christians have, we're changing that food in a certain way, and they're proving that with a lot of these shapes they're finding. Anyway, very interesting stuff that goes on there. I don't know.
Fascinating. I want to look into that.
If I could find that documentary, I will send it to you because it is extremely interesting, and it helped me understand. There's a lot of traditions that Christians do, like praying over your food, that I don't understand. They're pivotal things. God talks about how you ask and you're going to receive it. Ask and you shall receive. There's a lot of these verses. And when we start thinking about how we're praying and what we're doing, and I really feel like the things that we also talk about mentally and pray mentally and think mentally have a physical effect on our bodies.
I'm
as
very
well.
mental in my prayer, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and me too. Heavy that way. And anyway, just learning like how now that I have this new perspective on sound and frequency, I have really been trying to watch what I say and the types of things that I say and pay attention now to my gut, right? And be like, how does my gut feel about this? You know, I mean, that frequency is coming through, and I think if we had to pin it to something physical, I feel like possibly maybe those sounds and those frequencies rattle something good in us. They something. I don't know, but maybe that's how the gut works. I don't know. There usually is a physical explanation for God. He's a very scientific guy, and I feel like there
He
is.
created
there
it.
is. You can go study it. Right, exactly. And because there's something out there for everybody. Whatever's gonna bring you to Him. If you're a physical person, He's got something physical for you. But anyway, all of that whole study, I was going to ask you if you had heard of that at all, because I've just been really, my whole family, we've been really focusing on that. Also, there's an element of this, and I wish I had some Bible verses to back this up, because I've heard people do that with Bible verses, but I can't remember for the life of me. But talking about how a part of the faith element is not just asking God for it. That's a huge part. I think that's where we begin. But then we also have two other elements that I think are really important, and I've come to feel are very important. I test it in my day-to-day life. That is speaking like it's going to happen. It's a part of a faith. We speak. And then we also imagine those things happening that are good things to happen. So like something stupid, and you could test it. I've been testing this because this has been a new thought that has come into my mind, and I love to test those. I love to test new things. For me, it's been like, all right. I'm going to have this and this happen. It's a good little thing. That is going to happen. It's going to be fantastic. Everything's going to turn out really, really good, and I'm going to have this happen. And it does. It's so crazy how that works, how we just we pray, and then God, and then and I feel like when we say it, it's like we believe it or something. It's like a part of that belief for me. And I don't know, this is just something new for me. People have been talking about this and backing it up with verses and backing it up with different things like that, like ask and you shall receive. That's a physical thing that we do. We not only pray, but we're saying it, we're speaking it. I don't know, it's just really interesting, all those little elements to faith that I have been that have been coming in. I've been kind of testing it, checking my heart, and I don't know, I feel like there's something to it. I feel I haven't narrowed down yet to talk about it in its fullness, but really interesting. Have you experienced anything like that, Di Baron, or?
I mean, I know God is not going to give me what I want just because I want it, but at the same time, He's been giving me everything I want. But I'm asking for real things.
That's the difference. I'm not saying, oh, I'm going to get a Bugatti.
I'm not right. I'm not like, yo, God. So that CTSV Cadillac with the supercharged V8 that I sat in a few years ago that I really want, that's $100,000. I want that. No, nah.
Well, see,
but
okay,
like
I would,
off the allergy meds, no more heart palpitation, losing weight, not ferociously hungry, like happy, not stressed out, wonderful people coming in, things that matter are happening to me.
Mm-hmm. And you had faith that was gonna happen to you. You were praying.
I begged him. Yes, like.
He's honoring that.
I begged him. And that's just it. I mean, he told us, I will give you everything that you need. Mm-hmm. And I will take the burden off your shoulder. Hello, I feel very light. Like, when I walk out of Mass on Sunday, provided my mind is actually on Mass, sometimes I'm thinking about other things, but like, when it's done right, I walk out so at peace. And my body is at peace. I'm not carrying any stress. It is the most amazing feeling. And you gotta just give yourself to Him. Yeah. And people think, well, why does God let this happen? Or why does God do this? And it's like, you don't have God in your life. Stop crapping on Him. Like, He's not gonna give you anything because you haven't asked for it.
Yeah.
Oh, you want to be smarter and wiser and you want to like do better and you want to be healed? Ask Him.
Yeah.
And that's what I was doing. It's, man, for me, that prayer, like last year, I'm weak. I I have these horrible feelings sometimes, and I need you. I cannot do this on my own. And I think when you really, and that's humbling yourself before God, realizing you can't do anything without him. And then you see the power of him in your life. Like, once you're like, I really need you, he comes and he makes it happen. And I again, I'm an INTJ. I suck at feelings words, but guys, I really don't have the words. I can't even begin to explain to you the reality of God once you've invited him in, and you have free will. He is not going to just do it. He's like smacked me across the forehead a couple times in my life. Like, hey, I'm talking to you. And I didn't know he's listening. But here I am now. I'm here. And I can look back on my life and see every time. He was with me when I was little. I used to play Mass sometimes as a kid. Like, I always knew God was there.
Yeah.
And I took it for granted in my young adult life. And now I'm facing the realities of life. You know, my parents are almost 80, and I could go any day. Like, when you hit 40, I mean, you could go any day. You might live 50 more years, but people start dying, and I've lost friends in their 40s. Yeah. And you start to really reconcile with the realities of life. Mm-hmm. And when you see our world the way it is currently, either you're going to stick your head in the sand and pretend it's all okay, or you're going to react like I did and get really afraid. I don't like being afraid.
No.
And that's,
You're not supposed to fear too.
And God took that all away. I'm not living in a make-believe land. I know what we're up against right now, and I'm good. And I'm also not shutting up. I speak against it, and I have the courage because of him, and I ask him because I can say stupid things a lot, and I do get things wrong, and I don't know it all, even though I am confidently speaking. And there is a lot I do know, but I ask him in the right situation, please give me the words that I need to have. And I've heard some things come out of my mouth that were truly a gift.
Yeah, I the same thing. Like, I'll be a little lost for words. I'm like, I do them now, all the way through this interview, because I this whole thing. I'm asking, like, oh Lord, okay, can you help me? I want to say this, but I don't know how, or whatever. Like, all the way through, and I feel like I don't know how it's sounding on your end, but it feels good coming out of me.
I love it. Like, it's great.
But you feel good about what you're saying. But anyway, I completely agree with that. I talk a lot in front of the camera. Talk a lot to audiences. It's what I do. And words can be difficult. Words are hard.
I had to train myself to talk because I'm an introvert who lives in my mind. So I had to train myself how to do this. I'm still not good at it, but I want to be. I really want to be. You're
Thank
absolutely
you. I would
great.
say the same to you. Thank you.
Well, this is a fun discussion. I've never heard it sheep before, but I imagine it's similar to cats. Sheep are, well, it can be similar enough, though. If a huge open field, some are cats. They'll just go where they want if you don't have help. The power of words. Music as well. Music is prayer. Yeah, and a lot of us listen to music that is not prayer. I do like Motley Crue. Not exactly prayer. But music is always in a church service or mass because it is very much a part of prayer. And
the whole book of the Bible is songs from David.
Yes.
Man, music is a huge, huge part of that. I agree.
My church does music so well, and we all just love it. Everyone says the same thing. The music takes you deeper. It takes you deeper. You're going to have an experience. You can't not have an experience. And that's what the music should do. It shouldn't take from it. It shouldn't distract from it. It should take you deeper. The secular equivalent is the secret and manifesting. God will provide and answer prayer, but when he's not who you are asking, someone else answers. That's very dangerous, and a lot of people these days are turning to the someone else.
I'm not. When I say that, I just mean it's a faith thing. It's a faith element, and putting those feelings of faith, and you're checking your heart. You're making sure you're praying with God. I think that's a big deal to pray with God. And
I think it
and
goes back
so
to
I'm
what
not-
I said. Yeah.
It gets weird, and I'm not
God,
going weird.
God gives
I
you the
mean,
things that matter that you ask for.
I'm talking about the ask and you shall receive verses, things that are Christian. I don't go New Agey. I don't want you to misunderstand. I'm not going there. I'm just talking about those elements. I think speaking like it's like when you pray for rain. I don't know if you heard. There's some. Forget what the Christian movie is. I think it's like called Facing the Giants, and there's this whole scene in that movie talking about how you prepare for rain. And for me, I feel like sometimes talking about those things, oh, it's going to work out. You may not have the particulars. You don't know how God's going to work that out. But you're saying like, oh, it's going to work out really good. Everything's going to go fantastic. You're saying those things because
Having
you have faith that God is going to
having
make
faith that God's going to make it
everything
work.
happen.
Yep.
Exactly. I feel like I got to emphasize that because I know that it can go weird, and I'm not going there. I'm talking in faith. That's what I mean.
You got to say like Andrew Tate Bugatti. I've never listened to Andrew Tate. I'm gonna be real. It's awful to see what happens to those who manifest long-term fame and money that lead. Dude, there is outright Satanism going on in the fame and money field. I don't have Clove here, and Joy FM doesn't reach half the time, but I do listen to KJIR. King Jesus is returning. Music stuff. I love any hymns. That's awesome. The part of the Bible I was thinking of earlier, Peter 2, chapter 2. Let me pull that up.
Don't you love the internet?
Yes.
You don't have to go flipping through the Bible. No, not that. That's not good. But when you're looking for something specific, it's just like bing, bing, bing. Got it.
It's so amazing.
Hopefully. Yeah. Got the right words. Oh, man. That's a good one from...
Whoo, that's a bright page. That's Peter 1.
Let there be light.
No, it's 2 Peter. 2 Peter 2. Okay. The grace and peace be yours in abundance through the knowledge of God and Jesus our Lord. That one? Oh, you said chapter 2, not verse 2. Okay, wrong chapter.
That was still a good one, though. I like that one.
You know what's strange? That's exactly what we've been saying.
I know it. That's great.
Oh, Lordy. I want to break out my Bible. Like, where is it? You know what?
Do it.
Which Bible do I want to use?
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
I'll just grab this guy right here. I own entirely too many Bibles and too many rosaries, and I'm one person.
I don't think too many is. You can put that with that sentence with too many.
I want the one with the tabs so I can find it easier.
Okay. Oh, that's great.
It's funny, my priest... I swear this guy has a photographic memory. Every time I go to confession, he'll give me, like, a chapter to read out of the Bible. That's incredibly relevant. It's like, who even are you? I'm gonna have to search for this. We will also do comments, and I'll get you talking while I look for this. I'm afraid for my kids' physical and spiritual welfare in this world. I have hope, and I'm definitely doing more about it than I ever have, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't afraid. I would also be afraid, and the cool thing is, like, in my parish, I see families who are doing it well. And I see teenagers who love Mass. They love it. And they're doing great things. But we have a very strong, and my diocese has a very strong ministry towards teens. And they've been doing great things for a very long time now. And these kids are becoming rooted in their faith. And I think the trick is learning how to apply that when you go out. I'm not really an advocate of college anymore.
No.
I went to private college. Well, I went to too many universities and colleges, but I graduated from all private schools. I would recommend a private school that's actually focused on the education versus public. Public colleges and universities are just becoming stupid.
This comment, I really like this comment about spiritual warfare, because I think that we're in a period of time where it's so important, and I don't know, like, how I don't know if we are talking a whole lot about how we pray with spiritual warfare, too. How do we pray? And that has been a big one for me.
Can you read the comment?
Well, like learning how to pray. Which one?
The spiritual. Oh, there it is. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Wow, Diver. It's the one I just read.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one I really like. I think learning how to do that I have a battle with those things for sure. I went through a period of time where I was just getting the most craziest nightmares, and I knew that I was under attack. I knew it, and I got to the point where I just dreaded going to sleep. And I'm like, I'm a kid. I'm not a kid. I'm in my 20s, and that was really brutal to go through that. And I had a nightmare, and it was a reoccurring one. I usually get different ones, but I had one that I feel like had happened a couple times. And if you don't mind if I explain it.
Do it.
My sister and I were in a room, and somebody's trying to get in, and I know that is a demon trying to get in. I know that I'm being tormented, and so I'm not sure what to do. My sister's there with me, and all of a sudden I'm opening up the door in my dream. I'm opening up the door, and this I'm holding I think I'm holding like a knife in my hand or something like this, and the demon wants to come in. And I remember this was the final dream, because there'd been a lot of them up to this point, and I took my blade, and I was going to turn away, and then I turned back around, and I just absolutely I knifed this thing in the face. And I didn't have issues after that. And I found that as I was dreaming, I could recognize in my dreams, I started to recognize what was the demon, what was happening, that was happening in my dream. And then I would call out to Jesus, and the dream would end. And I feel like that whole period of time was me, God kind of teaching me that, and teaching me how to pray, and teaching me how to fight back a little bit. And we're not at the mercy. God is there with us. And but I've always kind of felt like I've been God maybe has allowed, or maybe I haven't known how to pray up until recently. But just kind of, I felt like I was just kind of on the whim of it, and it was difficult. I would have a lot of issues with that. And anyway, just learning how to pray. I feel like that was my learning how to pray, learning how to recognize it. Because I feel like sometimes we don't recognize that we're having a bad day, and there's a reason why we're having a bad day, or we're being tormented with a thought or with something in our lives, and we're not recognizing it. Like for me, I wasn't recognizing what it was. I mean, I knew I was under attack, but what do? You're kind of helpless. And I feel like that definitely. Or
you're like, what's wrong with me? Why do I keep thinking this?
Why do I keep doing this? And it's not you.
It's not you.
Under attack.
Yeah.
And learning how to pray. I'm still learning how to pray. We're probably always still learning how to pray, aren't we? But learning, what we need to say. And it's not just a set of words, but it is too in some ways. So
pray.
I don't know.
Some people think praying is worship, guys. To pray, even in the historical English sense, is simply to have a conversation. So you're having a conversation with God, and he's going to meet you where you're at.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. By the way, that chapter is about false prophets. I'm actually going to read, it's pretty big. I'm going to read that later by myself.
Okay.
2 Peter 2. There's a lot of that going on in the world today. So back when I was having, I think some people call it a reversion, but like, when I was on my way back to the church. So I would say around 2014, 2015, I had some friends who got into tarot, and I ended up with a tarot deck, and I played with it a little bit. And then one day I was like, what the hell are you doing? Get rid of this. So I hid it somewhere, and years went by. And so in 2021, I think it was like August, my mom started talking about how she was praying the rosary every day, and she still does. So I was like, oh, okay, that's nice, Mom. And then I never had a devotion to Mary. Yeah, I grew up Catholic, but not all Catholics are Mary freaks, right? And I suddenly started seeing stuff about praying the rosary, and it wasn't like talking about rosaries or teaching people. It's like pray the rosary. And then next thing I know, like Seamus was on Timcast, and Tim's like, it's, before we, end the shows or anything you want to tell anyone, Seamus, and he's like, yeah, pray the rosary. And I sat back and I was like, huh, that's really nice. I was like, that's actually cool. This is being said. And mind you, I didn't do it. And then I was following Jack Posobiec on Twitter, and then next thing I know, he's saying it on Twitter. Pray the rosary.
Wow.
Of course, they're both devout Catholics, but, it's not something you see every day from Catholics. And I had been, like, inundated with pray the rosary, and finally when I saw Jack's tweet, I was just like, okay, fine. I will pray the rosary. That is literally what I did. I threw my hands up in the air and looked up at him, and I'll do it. So I went and grabbed the rosary, and I actually pulled up some YouTube videos, because the problem is if I have to, like, keep track of how many Hail Marys I just totally don't know what's going on. So I do use YouTube videos to guide me through it so that I can go deeper and be more contemplative. And really with the rosary, what you're doing is focusing on the Bible, like Bible passages, the mysteries, different mysteries in Christ's life. And some people will say, well, you're doing it wrong if you let your mind wander. I don't believe that at all. You will end up going somewhere a lot of the time. And I have not been praying the rosary lately, but I started praying it almost every day that fall. And so that first time when I picked up the rosary and started saying it, I get halfway through the second decade and I threw the rosary down. And I stood up and I thought of the tarot deck. And I was like, I need to find this and get rid of it. And I went to look for it and I couldn't find it. I found it when I cleaned out my closet during Christmas. I had to get like everything out of the storage closet so I could actually throw stuff away. But that's the year that I started throwing all the stuff away I didn't need. And there were different little things I had that weren't really, conducive to a Christian life. And I ended up throwing those away. But I just, it was interesting that happened through that very first rosary. And those first couple weeks, it was interesting because that was like, I felt like this gnawing at me, saying like, repent, like get your ass back into church and confess, have the sins wiped away, get back into communion with the church. And like I said earlier, it took me 8 months to get into that church. I called my brother. I said, hey, Tom, we have a communal penance service a week before Easter. You want to go? And he's like, fine, what time is it? He came and picked me up and we went.
Aw, that's great.
And I had a really interesting talk with my priest because I told him the story I just told you about the rosary and the tarot cards. And I said, I feel like I've had something dark fighting for me, especially last fall. Like I felt something. And over the preceding years, like I still had my wiener dog. I had terrible thoughts about her, like doing things to get rid of her. Things that I would not do. Like that's my
No
baby.
way.
If I had done anything, I would have been devastated.
Yeah.
I bawled my eyes out when I had to put her down because I was snuffing a life. It was terrible. Like that.
Yeah.
It was. So I'm having these dark thoughts, and then I kept feeling. It just felt like something was really trying to take control. Like just get me to walk away from what I started doing with the rosary, and I felt like there was a battle. Because I never experienced Saint Mary in my life, ever. And suddenly I felt like she was there. And she was giving me the comfort I needed. Like, I honestly believe God sent her to bring me back. And that's one thing that Catholics believe in. Like, she's to Jesus through Mary. She's there to be your spiritual mother and help you to come closer to him. And that's exactly what happened. And anytime I felt that darkness or something like trying to compete for this, I would say a Hail Mary. And I had never done this before in my life. I never said Hail Marys. I didn't see the value in it. But like having her intercession, she got me to where I needed to be. And I believe now. Like I really strongly believe in the power of the saints and the rosary, and it's true. We all have a role to play. We're all part of that communion of saints. God has us working together as a family. And that's why when you ask like your friends to pray for you, and several people said that for me yesterday when they saw something was wrong, they're like, I'm praying for you. And I knew they were. That's just it. I knew they were. And it all got fixed so fast.
Unbelievable. Blinked and it was fixed.
Yes.
It's amazing.
I was on the phone most of the day, but man, guys, my move is done. Like, all I gotta do is pack it and do it. But like, everything is transferred. I called my dad sobbing. I'm like, Dad, I need $1,000 to afford the moving people. And Dad's like, just come Friday and I'll give you the money.
Oh.
Like, everything just came into place. And I had the loving support. It's not just resources that matter, but to know that I had all these people behind me yesterday from the Rumble community. Wow. This was powerful. But yeah, the darkness, I told my priest about that. He's like, you probably did have something fighting for you. Mm-hmm. And he actually did some prayers of exorcism in the confessional with me. Confession isn't just like, hey, Father, here's a list of all the bad things I did. No, like I take some interesting stuff in there to talk with him about, like the whole, you know, Father, I think God's trying to teach me how to love. Can we talk about this? Like that kind of stuff. And so yeah, I get the darkness thing. I do. It's really hard to put it into words that people can understand, because it's not like a horror movie where you have a demon coming after you, or like there's this thing living under the stairs. It's a very heavy, I would say suffocating presence. Like the air is thick when you have that. You don't want to mess around with the demonic. And
no way.
Yeah. And there are different degrees. Right. It's not like I was possessed. I wasn't even oppressed, but there was something there. And now, again, here's the word of the day. I feel so safe and protected.
Yeah. Yeah. Secure.
So that was a very poorly told story, but I told it.
No, you did wonderful. You did wonderful. I agree. I agree. And recognizing it. Recognizing it in yourself or other people, so like you can recognize to pray for people, that's different. Recognizing it, that's not easy. And then knowing how to pray when you recognize it too. Man, a lot of like learning experiences there for sure. And we're definitely very needed. That prayer is so powerful. God is amazing.
It's free. I feel free. I love feeling free.
I didn't understand the power of prayer until we were going through those, like you, your situation, like you're going through a really rough situation. You don't even realize how powerful it is until you can feel that prayer. You can feel that prayer. And they were in that documentary I mentioned earlier, they were showing how what prayer can do, like the physical form of what it can do and how it helps. I think they cover that a little bit, and how statistically, if you're being prayed for, we know this is statistical, that you will probably get better. There's a higher chance of you getting better if you're being prayed for. So yeah, there's something
look at what happened
really
to me and your dad.
Yeah, oh my goodness, myself even too.
Yes.
I didn't even know. You know, is this going to be my life now?
I wasn't going to go to the doctor, obviously.
Heck no.
I mean, I was going to go when I thought I was dying, but the second it subsided, I was like, I'm going to stay in my living room. God, let's talk.
Yeah, you might come back with more problems.
I would love to be more surrounded by nature. I will be more surrounded by nature on a Saturday when I move. I'm excited. I may not be religious, but I do have my Precious Moments Bible in my dresser. Those are cute.
Those are. I remember having those. Oh man, they're the best.
Did you get that when you were a baby, Glitch? Our father just pulled an, oh, you wanted to search for this, but here's another thing to read.
Oh.
My youngest son was having night terrors. That's terrifying as a kid. And I saw a video about a pastor priest blessing their bed and room, but also putting a Bible under their pillow. So I did it, and the terrors were gone. And you have the authority as the father, too, to exercise anything that's messing with your family. That's what's interesting. There's a spiritual authority hierarchy that a lot of people aren't aware of. That chapter also has reminders to things that are similarly repeating today. Yes. You want me to read 6 through 10? Let me... Hold on. I'm going to do an old lady thing. The words are small.
Oh, there you go. It's tiny. I wear contacts. I can't see worth a bean or so.
I wear contacts, but the near vision
the near
stuff
stuff
is I'm getting old, man. All right. Where's the 6?
It's amazing you were able to read that without them. That's impressive.
They're not too bad, but like if I have to pull things away.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So we're talking chapter 2, verse 6, correct? Correctamundo? Reading Condor is like reading lessons? 4, 5, 6.
Peter 2, chapter 2.
If by turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah to ashes he condemned them to extinction and made them an example to those who were to be ungodly, and if he rescued righteous Lot, greatly distressed by the licentiousness of the wicked, for by what the righteous man saw and heard as he lived among them, he was vexed in his righteous soul day after day with their lawless deeds. Then the Lord knows how to rescue the godly from trial and to keep the unrighteous under punishment until the day of judgment, and especially those who indulge in the lust of defiling passion and despise authority. That's interesting, because you see that. Keeping the unjust under punishment. People are tormented when they don't live a virtuous life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It is so warm in here. I've been distilling water and I turned it off, but dude, I need to put my air conditioner on. It's crazy. I'm surprised my hair isn't more from the humidity.
Oh, no, it looks great. It looks great.
I love me some Mother Mary, but I need more learning before I can fully understand the Catholic adoration of Mary. Look, our church is 2,000 years old, and we have a bazillion traditions, many of which are small t, and Mary is a part of salvation history, but I don't believe in forcing anything. I do not have a devotion to Mary, but if I am under temptation, I say Hail Mary, and it actually fixes it every time. I do need to say the rosary more, although lately I've been enjoying something else more, which is fine. The important thing is that you have prayer. I 100% believe that with all the richness of our faith, God will send you what you need when you need it. I needed the rosary, and there was a reason for that. He was giving me a gift to help protect me from evil and to bring me back to the church, and now I'm here, and I feel amazing. So I personally cannot do the checkbox religion. I just, especially if you're a newer Catholic, don't try to force anything. Just take it when it's time to take it. Accept the gift. For others, Catholics don't place Mary as a replacement to Jesus. I'm not good with wording. I hope that helps. Read Catechism a lot more. The Catechism is fascinating and beautiful. Yeah, so we believe in the communion of saints, of which we are a part of. Basically, that is your spiritual family. And Mary is, well, she is a saint. Mother of Jesus. You'd think she'd be a saint. And we ask the saints to pray for us. And not everyone does it. But some people have found that devotions to certain saints, having a prayerful relationship with them, so prayer meaning conversation, asking for prayers, benefits them. And a person does not become a saint in the Catholic Church unless there have been miracles associated with prayer related to that person. So not everyone who could potentially become a saint does become a saint. We actually have someone from my church. I guess they were there a very long time ago. We have prayer cards. They're like, let us know if you pray to the saint, if anything happens, let us know. Like, that's something that we have right now. I have the card. I just haven't done it. It's like, well, what am I going to pray to him for? But maybe a more faithful Catholic is a better person for that job. But I personally want more understanding of the doctrine to understand how to correctly position Mary in mind, heart, and not feel like it's worship. Yes. And I think another good question is, what does it mean to actually worship? And I've been asking that lately. And I think when we look at worship, like in movies, I think we have a bastardized idea of what worship is, when really all Christ is asking for is a relationship with us. And if you want to have a better understanding of Mary, I would recommend Father Chris Alar, who I brought up earlier, watch Divine Mercy. I think they actually have a Rumble channel.
Hey, there you go.
I do. I think I have them followed. Father Chris gives talks every Saturday, so there's like probably 3 years of talks that you can look through Night Tide. It's in a playlist though on YouTube. But yeah, they do. Haha. So I'll give you the Rumble channel, but you might want to go look at the playlists to find stuff. But there's a lot of great videos you can watch for his talks, and he'll give you like resources and stuff. But I've learned a lot about our faith that I didn't know. Cradle Catholics don't know anything about the Catholic faith, okay? I'm admitting it right now. Everything I know is because I took an interest in it and sought the information. But yeah, I mean, she's your spiritual mother. She's a resource. She's there to help. But she is not God, and she would never want to be God. She loves him more than anything, and is probably the ultimate in worshiping him. I'm a converted Catholic, so I know a lot, but I'm hungry for more info. The funny thing is, converted Catholics usually know more than cradle Catholics. Not even joking. Catechism of the Catholic Church, I've been pointed to that a lot. It's the what, why, how, which is essentially something like 90. Yeah, it will point you to the Bible in everything. I mean, that's kind of, it's basic information before leaving Earth. The Bible is the book. The Catechism is kind of, it is the what we believe and why, and here's the stuff in the Bible to understand why we believe what we believe. It is a lot. I've got the second edition revised under Pope John Paul II. And I keep not catching what happened to you, Bear, but what matters is God's got you in his hands. Everything's good now, Spars. Everything's good. It was just a misunderstanding, and honestly, I think it's working out from the end. I just got they wanted $1,200 from me for leaving early. But I just got a new account summary, and it's only $400. So I think they realized they screwed up. So I'm not paying the penalty for. It's great. It worked out. From my experience, it's literally ask our Father, Jesus, Holy Spirit for help. He will protect you. Yes. I got it in 2008 when I did Bible school over the summers. Reading glasses. Ain't those hearing glasses? Oh, wait. That's if one of us guys wear glasses. Wait. They call them hearing glasses for guys? Explain yourself. What?
It's what did we say earlier that he was saying was actually had legible?
Oh,
so there you go.
right. Sorry you had to explain the joke to me because I forgot.
I don't know if it was, but when I read it, that's what I was thinking.
I think he's right. Very apt passages. Thank you, Night Tide. My pastor was the one who turned me onto those passages while talking about the Book of Romans. All right, we're caught up with chat.
Wow.
That was a lot, man. I told you guys a lot of stuff that most people don't know about me. For now, right? You guys are very active tonight.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm still working on this overlay. I keep changing things and messing it up and changing things.
I know. I don't know how I'm gonna do mine. Actually, I have a plan, but I want to do for our stream because we do gaming and we have multiple screens, and I want to show all the screens because I like to make things complicated for myself. So I bought myself a Elgato Stream Deck pedal. Did you know they make pedals for your feet?
I think I heard that, but I dismissed it because it doesn't apply to me.
I could not believe it. Okay, a pedal is like I'm a drummer. This is like I'm made for this thing. But what I could do is it's got 3 buttons, 3 pedals. So each pedal is assigned to a different person's screen. My husband's and my brother's and myself. And I'm really excited to use it. I haven't gotten a chance to. I've been working on the 24/7 live stream for my little homestead. And but I was using it a little bit the other day and I was like, ooh, so fun. Anyway. And hands free because you know you're busy when you're gaming. Hands, you know, you're busy. Anyway.
Sorry, I can't hear you. Let me put my glasses on. It's a real thing us guys will do when we get older. I thought you guys just turned your hearing aids off when you were getting nagged. Seeds as sources are your best friends in OBS. Good point. Good point.
Scenes as sources? What do you mean?
So you can reference a scene as a source. You know how you have sources like your display, your camera, your stuff like that? Yeah. You can reference all sorts of things in different places in OBS.
Oh, yeah. I think I know what you mean.
And then, like, if you copy a scene into another scene, you can either copy it as, you can paste it as a reference or just paste it as its own thing. So, like, if you change the other scene, it'll change the second scene, too. Mm-hmm. Which is, I don't like doing that because I make a ton of scenes and then just mess around with them, but
yeah.
I break things. Well, what else? I feel like we saved the world today. We had a lot of crying on this stream.
I know. I don't normally cry on camera.
Me neither.
But when I've always been this way ever since I was a kid. Whenever I'm talking about something that means a lot to me, I tend to start crying. I can't help it. My grandma's the same way, boy. She talks about all things that you're like, whoa, that meant a lot. You know, she'll start, getting choked up. That's me. I'm better about it though as I get older because I was a very emotional child. Not in the sense where, well, yeah, I would just cry over things, and I want to be in front of people. I don't want to cry because I'm stressed and cry because I want to be able to pull myself together and be able to speak. And it's taken a lot to talk about, like, Dad's thing. But I felt like I've talked about it enough where I well up, but I can keep it under control, but I haven't shared the Jared thing yet, so I'm still working on that one.
I don't know. I just I think we've established that I'm not like really like invested in material things. Like I need what I need, but it's not what matters. So like when Chris showed it to my stream for the first time and dropped like a couple $100, I was like, is that really? Someone's like, it's the CEO. I'm like, what? Is that really the CEO? Like, thanks for the money, but who is this guy? I didn't even know his name.
Oh, yeah. I wouldn't have either until recently. I mean, it's been a few months now,
but then, like, I'm driving to London. I'm leaving church, and I'm driving, like, it's a 40-minute drive with construction. Like, I'm going to meet my brother for hamburgers, and I start bawling in my car on the expressway because I'm thinking about the trust thing my priest brought up. Like, the God stuff makes me cry. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear that. I'm the same way.
I'm an OBS power user. If you want some help, ping me. Yeah, AJ can help you with that. Sorry, did you say urine AIDS? That was the 80s. I cannot roll my
eyes harder.
I thank Jesus for y'all. I thank Jesus for y'all, beautiful brothers and sisters, believers and unbelievers. Like, yeah, there's something beautiful going on here. # Susan would never. Is she still there?
Well, okay, here's the thing now. This is Susan, the lady, the YouTube CEO,
Susan
right?
Wojcicki, yeah.
Yeah, okay. She is supposed to step down and someone else is supposed to take her position.
I
don't know if it's happened yet. But that girl has been the CEO since the dawn of Google and YouTube. So, I mean, she's been around forever, and I don't think we've ever liked her. So, and she used to take a few pointers from Chris. That's why every time Chris goes raiding, I'm like, that's unbelievable. That's awesome.
Susan is out. They have a new. Who's the new CEO?
Yeah, who's the new one now? Why have I not heard this news? Because this is very relevant.
Probably because he
especially
hasn't
to us.
pissed anyone off yet.
Probably.
They're like, we don't want the creators to know who the CEO is. They're gonna
Yeah,
start
please.
making videos about him.
No. The only one face we know from YouTube is the CEO.
Sparse
Unlike
says it's okay you
normal.
didn't know his name. You got called old, so you know.
Oh my goodness.
He didn't call me old though. It was the kid. Steve will do it. That's now my intro video for the Bare Truth. I cut the 7-minute video. I cut it down into 2 minutes. It's gold. I can't let it go. It's too good. Thank you, Chris and Steve, for the content. They just handed it to me. I really am thinking about putting it on YouTube because that would be hilarious.
Why not?
Shit that happens on Rumble. Now it's another guy who is worse, if that was possible. Neil Mohan? Neil Mohan. Dude, what's up with all these Indians getting CEO positions in American tech companies? I want to watch. Elon's going to buy YouTube and fire him like he did it on Twitter.
All right, we got to go see this guy. Neil, what was his name? Neil.
Mohan?
Is it Neil? What kind of a Neil?
Oh, I'm sorry. Neal. Not the way I would normally do it.
Neal. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, he was born in Indiana. Okay, he's American. I'm so racist. I just looked at him and assumed he was from India, but I have good reason. Dude, I work with a lot of Indians, okay? They're all from India. Best CEO ever gives free comedy content to creators for their benefit. Chris, that is.
He doesn't really have a very big history of anything.
Do you think Chris knows that he's like now part of a meme?
I feel like it'll get to him eventually. He's too on top of it.
Sadly, I think you're right. There's no hiding anything from him. He has more pro-censorship than Susan to a draconian degree. Full throttle DEI guy. Hate DEI. Hate it. Dude, it needs to go away. I would like to work for a corporation that doesn't do the DEI stuff. I think my overlay is done. I think it's good where it's at.
Or are you adjusting it on?
I made a few adjustments throughout the stream because I'm very meticulous.
Hey, when you see it, yeah, I am as well. But that's the difference between a professional and an amateur, is that meticulous little things, in my personal opinion.
I'm digging it. I think there's the right amount of black space in there. Like it's got all the things, but it's clean.
Yeah, it looks really good. I like it.
Thank you.
You're doing great.
Yeah.
All right, Neil Mohan doesn't have much of a history of much. He did DoubleClick, which apparently is some. Let's go look at DoubleClick. And then he worked for Google. No, Google acquired DoubleClick, of course. Oh, and actually Susan Wachuk, I never can say her last name. largely orchestrated it, so she made that happen. She worked exclusively with Mohan, so they're buddies.
Maybe she groomed him.
Probably.
It's not racist to think someone is from a specific country. It's just reality, like hearing an accent. I mean, I was just being a smartass. I'm
like
so bad about that. Breezy, look up his past positions in YouTube.
Yeah, it looks like he has been, actually with these two, have been doing a lot together. He was a board member of Twitter. No. Rose Blatt, who was a board member of Twitter, attempted to hire him as a chief product officer, I'm guessing for Twitter.
So what you're saying is Susan actually came back as an Indian American man?
It took me a second to get that, but I got it.
I'm glad you thought it was funny.
It's a good one. I like that one.
Diver, the live chat is very slightly cut off on the right side, that last few feet of the race to the goal line. On the right side?
Oh, it is.
Mother trucker.
Wow, good eye. Good eyeball. Spars a thin 10 out of 10.
How's that? I just dragged and dropped. Is that good? Now
2.0.
I put the chat over the Discord.
Oh.
All right. Now it's like, oh, I could drag this. Now I can drag this. Bree 2020, not 1010. Yeah, it was a
Okay.
Susan 2.0. Now he is. Hey, it's 2023. Okay.
Has he done anything yet to make everybody mad? Because I feel like
That's one hell of a tan Susan has. I'm so bad. The real question is, have we ever seen Susan and Neil in the same room?
that is hilarious. It's too funny.
That's so good. Hey chat, I'm just gonna give you guys the link so you can see what I'm seeing. It's just Google search results or Brave search results. Wow. Okay, that was a boo boo.
It works fine though. Brave is fine. Why? I just want images. I guess we gotta go this one. Why do I have to do that? Why do I have to do that? Okay. I mean, he seems like a nice guy, but a lot of guys that are not good seem like nice guys. Same with women. You're like, oh, that person would never hurt a fly, and then you hear about what they did, and you're like, excuse me, what?
I mean, narcissists are incredibly fun and charismatic until they're not.
Agreed. They're good at tricking you. That's why all the best criminals, they always get into those positions, and they're very likable people, it seems like.
Yeah.
Until they're not.
Well, I heard something went down badly on YouTube in the last week or two, the censorship stuff or something. Okay, I want the dirt on that. Yeah, they pulled a bunch of videos critical to Dylan. Wait, that's what they did? Really? I hope those videos are all on Rumble.
Oh, they got him.
Nothing major yet to make people mad to my knowledge, but I've seen some complaints. Most of the time is spent on Rumble nowadays anyway. People mad. Oh, right. We fixed it at the same time. Wow.
Do you know that there's people that will not hire you if you went to Yale? There's companies that won't. They said, don't come to us if you've gone to, I think it's Yale.
Really?
They won't do it. They won't hire you. I was like, wow. You never think that a high education would be something that would make you not get a job.
That's I hear it's a very leftist school, though.
Yeah.
Like, Michael Knowles went there, and he talks about it.
I thought it was Yale, but it might have been, there's a million of those little prestigious, but it was a high prestigious-y one.
Pre-trans video of Dylan Mulvaney resurfaces.
What did you think of Twitch banning PewDiePie yesterday?
Why did they ban him?
I have no idea. They like to ban people over there.
I don't watch him, but I've checked out some of his stuff amidst many.
He doesn't even use it. Yeah, go ahead.
Wait. He hasn't been streaming on Twitch at all, and they banned him?
I don't know if he has ever streamed on Twitch and they banned him.
They
went out of their way to cause a problem. He streamed to DLive. I don't know if he's ever done Twitch. He might have before my time of. I don't watch him, but I keep an eye on him because I just do.
He went to Stanford. Now we know why. Only a few grads from Stanford that aren't full censor. And they gave a bunch of strikes to peeps for past vids. Tim got a strike, but they told him he could still stream. That's because he makes them a shit ton. They know that if Tim gets banned off of YouTube, that's a lot more people who super chat who will be going to Rumble. YouTube has lost a lot of money because of this.
And they're going to continue to do so because they got to get themselves. They for starters, you can't have somebody that big.
That's how you know someone's pulling the strings.
Diversify.
Yeah. Because there's that is not good business what they're doing. So like it's definitely an agenda.
Bummer. We're
PC
still on
gamer.
YouTube, so I have to, we're still there because that's where we've built a great audience over there too, and we're hoping to build one here on Rumble, a family like we've over there. But that doesn't
Okay.
mean that,
Just over a month after making a surprise semi-return to Twitch, PewDiePie has been banned from the platform. Yes.
What on earth for? I didn't know he returned.
A reason for the suspension hasn't been announced, of course, because they don't. But some fans are speculating that it could be due to one of his old VODs. I swear. Stop. PewDiePie is famous as one of the most dominant figures on YouTube. In fact, despite retiring from YouTube in 2020, he wasn't surpassed as the platform's top dog until MrBeast claimed the crown in late 2022. He does have a Twitch channel too, but hadn't touched it for years until March when it suddenly popped back to life, inexplicably airing episodes of Canadian sitcom Trailer Park Boys. Okay, that's a copyright infringement, so that would get him banned.
He was looking for that ban then.
Yeah.
Like
this was all quite confusing, and as Dextero pointed out at the time, some fans worried that PewDiePie's channel had been hacked. But it was actually the work of Copilot Media, distribution and monetization service, which was using the footage to test a planned rollout of PewDiePie Infinity. Essentially an endless loop of PewDiePie's videos running non-stop, like you're doing.
That is hilarious. That is hilarious. So they pretty much, they didn't care about the ban, so they tested it on Twitch, and that's how they knew they were going to get banned. That is hilarious. I didn't know any of that happened. I just heard that he got banned, and I was like, what? He's not on Twitch?
Oh, there's more.
Oh gosh. Wow. Okay.
Trailer Park Boys was used for the test because Copilot has the rights to that content, too.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's another little juicy tidbit. So really, Twitch isn't, they can't, right? Then they shouldn't have done.
Well, did you know?
The person has the rights, right?
I think it was Metallica. There was a live stream on Twitch a couple years ago. There was some event and Metallica played. And of course it was being exclusively live streamed on Twitch, and Twitch, these guys are asses. They played some kind of stupid music over the Metallica performance.
What?
You know they were being jerks about it because Metallica was all behind the copyright stuff, like with Napster and stuff. But it was kind of funny. It was kind of funny, even though Metallica meant to stream on Twitch. But so mystery solved. But now there's a new mystery afoot. After a little over a month of running constant VODs and with nary a single live appearance from the man himself, PewDiePie's channel was banned. As usual, Twitch did not publicly comment on the reason for the ban or how long it will last. Quite a few PewDiePie fans have speculated that YouTube's comparatively lax content guidelines could have been the cause. Simply put, what passes muster on the tube is not necessarily acceptable on Twitch. Some believe the ban was specifically triggered by an inadvertent replay of the infamous Bridge incident in which PewDiePie dropped the N-word during a 2017 PUBG session. So someone there was watching the stream just looking for a reason to ban him.
Yeah, sounds like it. What an eye roll. It's just such an eye roll, isn't it? I feel like this has been my word for this company and others too that have just recently, they feel like they're in self-destruct mode. And I feel like Twitch is in self-destruct mode, and other companies too.
That's how you know they're not in control. They're not in control.
Yeah, they're not. They're not. Nobody alive would make the decisions that they're making.
Yale is leftist, and yeah, there are lots of companies that won't accept unless you're a Yale grad. Well, she was saying if you were a Yale grad, they wouldn't accept you.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was Yale. It was one of those prestigious colleges, and they said if you went to that college, we are not going to hire you.
That's hilarious. Probably because of cultural issues. Yeah.
I actually think that it was a power company too that was like, don't come.
I would think that if you hire someone who's really leftist, you're really looking at a liability issue.
Potentially.
Unless you're playing the DEI game. Yeah. I'm not a PewDiePie fan at all, but why ban him? I mean, there's no reason to do it. He was rebroadcasting to Twitch, I think, and they banned him, is what I heard. Rumble, says Spars. But wait, there's more. But wait. I think a lot of these corporations are co-opted by ideologues and are self-destructed like Bud Light. I did not know that Bud Light was owned by a Dutch company?
A
I
what?
didn't know InBev was a European company.
Mm.
So you see a lot of these. I've seen a lot of streamers here on Rumble talk about, the problems with America and American companies. But then you look at who actually owns these companies or are funding them, and it's European and Chinese companies.
Mm.
It's crazy. I think a lot of
really
these
is.
corps, I read that one, it's all both ways on the hiring. Companies doing that with not hiring. Anheuser-Busch sold to that company many years ago. Yeah, I had no idea. I thought InBev was just a distributor, not like the brewery themselves. I was drinking Yingling before it was cool. That's awesome. Oh, man. So, I was feeling kind of a little antsy today. I think I just want to feel normal again. I can't wait till this move is over.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking forward to that for you.
I think the fact is I'm still going to be stressed out just cuz I mean, it is one of the 5 most stressful things that a person will endure in their life. So,
Yeah.
okay, you're moving. Also, I might have my internet set up on Saturday. So,
Hey.
I'm thinking about doing a Friday stream still, guys, because honestly, I think I'm going to need the time to just decompress. But I don't know when because we're going to mom and dad's after we move some stuff over there, me and my brother. And then I have to come back here because I have the movers coming between 8 and 9 on Saturday. My Comcast stuff, they created the label today. So I went with Comcast because they were the only ones who could do fiber to my apartment. Although the
Ooh,
published
nice.
upload speeds are a joke. Like, they're cable speeds, but we'll see. We'll see if that... We'll test it and see what the upload speeds really are. They better be freaking 1 gig. Oh, man. Xfinity, your equipment is on its way. I gotta see. Now that it's like 10 o'clock, there should be a date. Oh! I'll get it May 12th. Let's go. Guys, we're going to have a
Hey.
stream this weekend from the new place. Let's go.
Wow!
Yay!
Yay! Good.
Thank God. Awesome sauce. Hopefully it arrives while I'm actually at the new apartment, because that's when I sign my lease and everything. You have Comcast. You have 1.2 gigs down at. Oh, it is only 45 up. What is that? Like, what even is that, dude? Why would you have such a low upload speed?
Upload speed out here is atrocious, but we do what we can. We still like streaming, so.
I have 1,000 up and 1,000 down with AT&T. So I think I went with the 2-year contract because I had to do that in order to do unlimited with Comcast. So in 2 years, AT&T better have their freaking internet in my complex because I want my 1,000 up. I'm so spoiled.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Night Tide, how is your streaming? Like, what bit rate can you stream at? Is there any kind of bottlenecking? Is it good at that speed at least? Ooh, bacon burger. Dude, hamburgers are like one of the greatest foods ever.
They are. You're making me hungry. I haven't eaten yet.
I haven't eaten today, so I'll eat tomorrow. I had rarely popped over to the bar the other night for burger, and an old buddy manager suggested Yingling. Did you like it? Bear, just a reminder, try not to stress much about tomorrow. God feeds the birds, worms, dogs, cats, the whole verse. Yeah, I mean, I have nothing going on tomorrow. I'm basically just packing my car up, and then the rest of it's getting packed on Friday with my brother. But it's just, I just need it to be done. I'm still trying to find a place to call my own, living like a minimalistic nomad. I had moved so many times in my life, and I knew this move was going to come at some point. In 2 years, I threw away so much stuff, and I went to go throw stuff away earlier today, and I couldn't find anything. I was like, oh, I legit
Hey, you
got
reached your
rid.
end.
Yeah, well, the
Oh.
Christmas tree is going in the car tomorrow, so I know there's going to be some things in the storage closet I can throw out, but. Yeah, I mean, that was all part of, like, returning to the church. It's like, do you really need all this crap? And it is a burden. It is legit a burden. If you don't use the stuff, get rid of it. Just do not allow yourself to be trapped or connected to things. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
I went through my wardrobe today because it had thrown up all over the room, and I don't normally have that, but it's just everywhere. And because I think I was in a hurry and I rifled through, and I'm just like, I'm gonna go through this anyway. So I was a little bit too aggressive, but I finally got time today to go through it, and oh man, throwing stuff out. I don't need this. I don't need that. I don't like wearing that. Gone.
I wear my clothes forever, and I wash them in cold water unless there's a reason to use hot water. But like washing it in cold water, when I was studying biological science at Michigan Tech, I had a chemistry class, and I remember a lab day we had on detergent, and I was like, just soaking up all the information and watching how detergent works, and I'm like, why the hell do we wash our clothes in hot water? It's unnecessary. Once you understand the science behind it, and then I was like, I'm gonna start using cold water. My clothes last forever.
Nice. Do you use a dryer, or do you like let it dry?
I do not use a dryer. Although I don't have a washer and dryer in my apartment, I do use the dryer at Mom and Dad's, but a lot of my stuff is synthetic from like my up north days, so it has to be hung dry. But I have a washer and dryer in the new place, so like the bathrobe, damn well that's going in the dryer, and I'm gonna put it on right away when it comes out, like, because it feels so good.
We hang all of our clothing out in the sun, and so we did that all the way growing up, because we're out in the desert, like this is the place to have the sun dry your clothes.
It smells good.
Yeah. But I'm tired of hanging stuff up, so my husband and I were designing our house. And I want to make both my husband and my brothers, and my dad, they're all engineers. They engineer stuff. I don't know. They make stuff. They're fabricators. They can do it. And so I told them, this is what I want. I want the wall facing the sunshine, where it's going to get the most sunshine. And I want like the inside of a dryer. You can make it whatever you want, but the inside of a dryer, but it pokes out of the house, so that the sun can hit it, and it can do the tumble dry in the sun, and I don't have to go hang it up, but it's still in the sunshine, paint it black, so that the little thing pokes out of the house, you know what I mean? So that it's outside. So it's outside. So you open it up to the outdoors. You put your clothes in. You shut it. You leave it there for 45 minutes. Then you come back and get your clothes. That's what I want. I told him that's what I want.
Interesting. That's fascinating.
Might as well. I don't know. We have so much sun here.
So. We don't. Today was actually beautiful. We had blue sky all day, first day in a very long time, and it was like 66 degrees. It was perfect.
Ooh, that's nice.
Oh my gosh,
would be sweater weather for me.
I have a door that opens out to my patio on the new apartment, and it's just into a grassy wooded area. I'm so excited. Nice. When I saw that, when I first looked at this complex like 2 years ago, I was like, yep, I want this. This is...
Oh.
Yeah, I knew I wanted to move here a while ago, and so I got to go buy a new patio chair, and I'll be sitting outside enjoying life. I might do some local streams. We'll see how close I am to my neighbors. Like, they might think I'm weird sitting out on my patio talking to my cell phone. It's plenty for 8K Rumble streams. Okay, wonderful. Thank you for letting me know. I give either one of you my upload. You won't notice a difference. No issues. It's totally fine. Sorry, ladies, but about the food. Oh, sorry, ladies, about the food talk. My streams always end in food talk. As far as Western Burger, get in my belly. Get in my belly. Get in my belly. There's only a rare few times you need hot water for washing after rinsing it before washing it. Engine, especially diesel, oil, gasoline, diesel grease, and a few other mechanic-related things. And I hate to say it. There was a graphic that went around on Twitter that I shared. I think last week someone shared a graphic that had like all these brands that people buy and the major corporations that people want to boycott. And unfortunately, fortunately, the only thing that I bought out of the over 100 brands on there is Tide. The crappy thing is Tide actually works. I started using it when I was mountain biking every day because it was the only thing that got the dirt stains out of my clothes.
Wow.
And it was easy. Cool. Yeah, that stuff is good. It probably kills people, but because it's so good. But I'm like, I don't know. I buy laundry detergent so little that we'll see. Maybe I'll look for an alternative. All right,
I don't know,
AJ,
maybe
have a
so.
good night. Thanks for hanging out. I could see my little homestead making an elaborate rotisserie clothes dryer. That's
That's what I'm thinking.
going to be a video.
It's up our it's up our alley, and then I don't have to hang clothes, and I still get the dryer experience with the sun. I think all the yeses are there.
I need to see this. I need to see
We're
this
gonna
to
build this house.
understand it.
Okay, well, our house, the room that you see behind me is gonna be the master bedroom for our house. We're gonna build off of our room. This is actually my room growing up that we built this, and
Oh, you live in your childhood home?
oh yeah, I live on the homestead with my hubby. We all live in the courtyard. My mom's house and dad's house is like just a walk that way, just like
That's so
a
cute.
little bit. Yeah,
That's
we'll
actually
build our
awesome
house
that
here,
you have
so-
your family nearby.
Yeah, we work together, and this is our job, so it makes sense. Plus, we really like being around each other. So
This is good. Anyway, I cut you off. So you're going to add on behind you?
it's gonna go in this direction, but yes, it'll be a big house, and I've been sketching stuff for it. I want to do a lot of woodworking for it. Jared's he's a carpenter too. He does all kinds of things, but he's gonna make a bunch of furniture for the house and custom tables, and I'm hoping to get a bunch of stuff in there that's all hand done. And I want these. We went to like a pizza place the other day. And they had these windows that they came out. They were huge, and then it was like a bar, and it opened the whole restaurant out to the outdoors. It's really cool. And I'm like, Jared, we gotta have this in the house. I mean, we're still in the planning phase, but I want to have a big window that opens up for the kitchen, and then the same for the living room area, so that you can really, out in the desert, you want the outside in all the time. So anyway,
That's
fun
awesome.
stuff. Just thinking of little things. We still have we're building a big workshop right now, so we still got to get that built.
So you can build
But, yeah.
everything else.
Yeah.
AJ, God bless. Have a wonderful night. I gotta gather walnuts this year. Start making some old fashioned detergent. Wait, how?
Interesting.
How?
With walnuts. Interesting.
Fascinating. At Condor, and one of them will come up with the idea for a conveyor belt in the mix.
Hey, if we can get something that will fold the laundry too,
I was just gonna say, get it to
I mean,
hang
if we're gonna
it.
get fancy.
It'd be
yeah.
like an episode of the Jetsons. Did you watch the Jetsons? Am I too old?
I'm familiar with the
I loved the Jetsons as a kid. Oh my gosh.
Nice.
Diver, my little homestead, had just done a 24-hour live stream with full progress of a building on whatnot. Oh, really? Wow. Walnuts.
Hopefully that's going. Yeah, I gotta see. Make sure. Gotta double check. I need to make sure this is running still. It's 24/7, so it needs to be running all the time.
24/7/30.
Let's go ensure this is still going. Yep, that's still going. Okay. We're hitting the 24-hour mark now, so.
Oh,
Yep,
really?
that's still going. Yes, I just want to go verify. We've been making little adjustments all day. Yep, we're still going. The quality, especially in the evening times when it's not always the best, but it still goes, and we can't be picky out in the country.
How is Starlink?
Well, for the download speed for us out here, I mean, it's probably sits between 50 and maybe 100 and something, 160 probably, which is amazing. We've never had that good of download speed ever. But then the upload speed sits around it's supposed to do between 5 and 10, but it sits more about 2 and 10, but then it can jump up. It's very like this.
Interesting.
It'll have great speeds at one point, and then a second later it doesn't. So very spiky.
I'd like my parents to get it. They have really bad. I don't know. They're on they have a hotspot, and I think they're with Verizon. There's no good internet out where they are, so.
Oh. Sorry.
No, you're
the
good.
Light, it was like, wait, it's my scene. Okay, thank you. Yep. Sorry. I know. I better get going here. I don't want to end us too early, but
No, I think it's time to end. I think it is.
It's gotta eat before it gets too late.
Walnut, lime. I'll need to ask Grandma again. Grew up with it, but soon as we moved and no garden, no walnut detergent. Oh, and allergies.
Walnut and lime. Like, you talking about like an actual lime, or you talking about like lime, like
the powder,
the powder lime, like you build with,
like what you put in horse stalls. Yeah.
I mean, we have so much lime because we've been doing aircrete, and lime is one of.
She's gonna make it now.
Off and on.
She's gonna get some
and
walnuts.
Walnut, like the nut.
Yeah.
But wouldn't that be kind of, I don't know, expensive? Walnuts? And what do you do? Do you crush it up? Yeah, the rock, the dust. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Walnut detergent.
All right. Well, chat. Don't forget to hit the follow button if you haven't already. And I will be on my other channel tomorrow night, Diebear, rumble.com/Diebear. Gaming. Maybe we'll find people to game with. Is there anything else you'd like to say? Who you are, where they can find you?
Oh, sure, yeah. You can find me our My Little Homestead channel. We do lots of alternative building and that kind of good stuff. My Little Homestead, we're on Rumble here, we're on YouTube, we're on everywhere you can find us. We're there. We just started our 24/7 live stream, so if you'd like to get it's playing on repeat. Not all of our content, mind you, because we've been doing this over a decade, but 590 videos that play on repeat. So we're pretty excited about that. That just launched last night. And then we post new episodes because it's an ongoing show to this day. We post new episodes on the last Friday of every month. And they're really, I'm not to toot my own horn, but they're really well produced. We've been doing this a long time. My mom, she's the producer of these, and she's trained us all up. She's a fantastic editor. And I'm really proud of the work that we do. So if you want to go check that out, it'll be worth your time, I promise. And if not, then at least you tried. Hey, you never know. And then we do gaming here on Rumble. And our gaming Rumble is My Little Gaming. So if you'd like to check that out as well, that's there. And
I love it.
I don't know if you're interested in music, but I do political satire music. And that is Breezy B Music is the name of that. And I'm on True Social.
It's
Breezy
really
B.
good, too. I'll get my True Social set up tonight, I promise.
Right. Yeah, gotta get that going.
I got stuck on the bio. I was like, I have to think about my bio? What? So
I have the same one. I copy and paste over.
I'm just going to be lazy. Yeah. Chat, all of our links are down below the video, both in the description and in the... I hope I put the comment there. Well, there will be a comment.
Yeah.
It is in the description below the video, though, so check out all of her links. You can support Breezy on her locals link that is also down below. And the interesting thing about locals is you can subscribe for the minimum amount, or if you want to give more, you can just change the number in the box and give more. So, yeah, definitely support Breezy. And thank you all. For your support, and maybe we'll have you back next week if you want to come back. This is a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it.
We got to come back. We got to come up with another topic.
Yeah.
All right, chat. Thank you for watching. Everyone have a great night, and thank you so much for all of your support. You guys are just freaking-tastic.